Hey everyone, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? Hey guys, just making sure everybody could hear me, could see me. Yeah, Martin Hernandez, saludos, amigo. Okay, that's great. Okay, so today we're gonna be doing like a SheetXAI setup workshop, right? And pretty much what we're trying to do today is very simple. I'm not gonna go super duper deep. We're gonna look at two things. We're just gonna do setup, then I'm gonna show you guys the new features that we have, and then after that, I'm gonna answer every single question that you guys have, right? I kind of have them all, ready to be answered and everything. So I know you guys are ready because I'm ready too. But first, I'm gonna help you guys with setup, right? So one sec while I open the like an AppSumo account. Okay, so here I'm connecting to the AppSumo account just to show this to you guys. Okay, you guys could probably see this. Can you guys confirm that you can see this? Okay. Okay, let me just confirm. Okay, everybody can see it. Perfect. So we're on AppSumo here, right? And essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to products, right? And I'm gonna show you guys the activation path because I feel like that was one of the first places that a lot of people were having issues, right? So here we're just gonna click. Obviously, I bought my own product a few times. It was for testing. Don't worry, I didn't write any reviews or anything of the sorts. But essentially, let's say we have this, right? So let's say somebody bought license tier 2 and they had the tier 2 and access to the Excel AI agents and one-time credits, right? In order to use it, right, you just have to press launch Sheets AI. Now, in your case, if you haven't activated it yet, you're probably gonna have to now activate it, right? So now it's gonna say activate SheetXAI, right? So in this case, I'm gonna launch it and it's gonna take you to this page. Give it a few seconds. So because I already have it activated, it's gonna take me to this page right here, right? Now, I know some of you guys are looking at this like, oh, I'm about to steal this guy's account. Don't worry, guys. This account doesn't exist anymore. I already took it off because I knew this was gonna happen. But essentially, there's the license key, the license details, and then there's this license already linked to this email, right? So essentially, in this case, you guys will grab whatever the license key is, and you can, if you already know your password, which is the ideal situation that you remember your password, but if you don't remember your password, this would be huge. So let me explain, right? So you go to this page right here, right? If you don't know your password, you click forgot password, AppSumo key, and you put your AppSumo key. If you were one of our earlier customers and you don't know your password, you use your LTD code because, before AppSumo, that's what we're using. And essentially, you just put your email, right? But we have a whole bunch of things, different things there that like prevent uh, prevent you from kind of messing up because we've set it up in a way where you can quickly figure out what's happening, right? And then after you sign into this, which I'm gonna show right now, but I just don't want to show my password, so I'm gonna once again move the screen for a little bit. One sec, I'm just signing in. Okay. Okay, so after you sign in, you're gonna see something like this, right? Now, essentially, this will be for the first time you sign in when you don't have seats that you already kind of like set up, right? After you sign in the first time, you won't see this ever again. But we purposely made it this way so that you quickly know exactly what to look for. We've had people have issues, and so I was trying to make it as easy as possible, right? So you press got it, and then it's gonna tell you to assign a seat, right? So here I can add, this is a fake email, but plus 12345 blah, blah, blah at SheetXAI.com, right? And then if I assign this email, it's gonna tell you the seed is assigned. And then as you can see right here, all of a sudden this starts beeping. Now here's what I want you to notice though about this page. So this page shows you your access and features, right? It shows you shared API keys, so you could put API keys here for every member of your team. And right here, there's add-ons. So, you know, because AppSumo is over, if you still need add-ons like the credit add-on, the Excel add-on, you could come here and you could buy them, right? And then you would know right here, right? Excel agent. So essentially you would click install SheetXAI. And when you click that, you're gonna get this big thing that says this is a manager account. Now this is very important. I've had people have issues with this. Essentially, the account you make on this dashboard is a manager account. So it's not registering you as a user. It's just registering you as a manager, like you are an LTD manager, right? We've noticed this, especially with people who have 25 plus accounts. A lot of them don't actually, a lot of people we've spoken to don't actually want to use that main account to use the app. They have different other accounts that they like using. So that's why we kind of implemented this. And so for people who with 25 accounts is less confusing, but for people with like, I don't know, like one account or 5 or 3, you know, where it's like lower, it's typically confusing when it's like, wait, I have to make another account if I go to Excel, and the answer is yes, right? Now here you have two options. With both options, we have other PSAs, right? So on the Google account option, it's gonna tell you specifically, you know, your account here is a manager account, make sure you use this. And if you go on the Google Sheets side, what we show is we actually tell you all the permissions that we typically would need, right? Very important, because obviously we've also had people bring up that, yeah, you know, they wish, you know, they were kind of confused about the permissions. So here we explain every permission, like, you know, this is what you need, this is what you need, this is why we need this, right? And so that's exactly what happens. So you're gonna click, in this example, I'm just gonna say continue to Google Sheets. I obviously already have this installed, but here you would normally click this and you would install it, okay? So that terminates the main setup aspect of things. So if you've gotten all the way to this point, congrats, you're already like where you're supposed to be. If you still haven't, and let's say you wanted to do Microsoft Excel, right? You're gonna click this, it's gonna take you to the app source page, right? And here you can press get it now and download it, right? So once again, in both cases, you're done. If you got to this point, you're done. Now onto the actual real setup, right? Which I'm gonna open in a new video tab. One sec. This YouTube thing is very, very interesting. But yeah, give me one sec while I open this thing in the right tab. Let's see. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so this is pretty much what happens when you open Google Sheets, right? Now, if you're wondering how to open SheetXAI, you click extensions. It's gonna be right here, and all you have to click is open SheetXAI. That's it, right? I try to make this as, I would say, less confusing as possible, right? So as you can see, now we have open SheetXAI, how to use Sai, blah, 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 right? But in your case, you might wanna test different things, try different things, but make sure this is the one you use, open SheetXAI, right? In my case, I have a demo version of SheetXAI because of the new features that we're adding. And so that's what I'm gonna open, and mine opens on the right. But this is because I'm using a demo version. But remember, in your case, you have to go extensions, SheetXAI, open SheetXAI. Do not mess that up, right? Okay, now let's get to the real things, okay? So essentially when SheetXAI opens, and we've made a few changes, which I'm gonna show you guys very, very soon. At first, if you're an LTD user, it's going to ask, there's going to be a pop-up that's going to pop right here. If you don't have credits, it's immediately going to ask you, hey, put your credits. What's the word I'm looking for? Put your API keys, right? Immediately. First question is, what are your API keys for OpenRouter, Straco, OpenAI, and I believe it's only those three. And then there's going to be like a other, right? Whichever one you choose, just click it, put your keys, and you're good to go, right? And also, this whole thing will be recorded with timestamps and everything, so you don't have to worry about that. And this demo version that I'm showing you guys will be pushed about 10-20 minutes after this call, after the webinar ends, right? But essentially, you come to this page, right? And let's say you hadn't set your keys yet. You go to settings, right? So this is where settings is, right? And here you would see all your keys and all your providers, right? So some of these are gonna seem a little different from what you've seen before if you've already been in here, because now we have like image edit and we have image to video. But we only added those because before we used to have them all under image gen or video gen. And, we just thought like we might as well kind of move them away because they're separate, but essentially you have every tab, and not only do you have the tab, you have a how to use. It's very important that you remember this. There's a big how to use right here for every single tab. It doesn't matter the tab you go to, there's going to be a how to use, right? So how to use, how to use, how to use, right? And it's very important you remember this because of the fact that there's times where you're probably going to be like, hey, I'm trying to use this thing, it's not working. And the how to use is the way to kind of see, how do I make images? How do I edit images? Blah, 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 blah. And here you can see your account settings, right? So if you click account settings, you should be able to see like your email, your name, last name, blah, blah, blah. I recommend first time you should go in here and put your first name and last name because I don't have that information. My fault, I should have asked it from the jump, but essentially I don't have that information. So make sure you kind of go there and put that, but if you don't, the app works without it. So here, just to kind of show you some of the providers, we have File, we have OpenAI, Straco, we have Gemini, Runware, Ideogram. That's all the image providers. In the chatbot, we have OpenRouter, OpenAI, Claude, LLM Gateway, Straco, ZAI. We pretty much have all the main guys, right? The one I recommend the most is OpenRouter, and you can see why if you hover over this top pick thing. So everything has a pick, like the recommended, the ones I recommend have top pick, top pick, top pick, and they explain why, right? So in this case, OpenRouter is our favorite because it has every single model on the planet, right? And we would rather you use one thing than kind of put multiple API keys for multiple different things, right? So in this case, I'm choosing OpenRouter, and now you will see on this update that's coming out, you will see that we now have Auto Basic, Auto Standard, and Auto Max, okay? I recommend you start with Auto Basic for 99.99.99999% of all operations. Auto Basic is the one that's like, is the cheapest one, is the smallest one. If you have the money, go for Auto Max, or Auto Standard. But I recommend you start with Auto Basic, and if something doesn't go the way you want, then you switch to Auto Max or Auto Standard or any of those, right? It's very, very important that you do it exactly this way, right? And let me show you guys some of the email and leads. And by the way, I can't see your questions yet. I don't know if anybody's asking questions in the chat, but I can't see your questions yet. I'm gonna look at it right after I finish with this tab. But yeah, so here we have like email verifiers. Once again, if you're wondering how do I use it, how to use right here. Email senders, same thing. Lead finders. Right now we only have Tomba, but we plan to expand this a lot more. We have stuff for publishing. So WordPress, you could create posts, you could manage posts, you could update posts, you could delete posts. We have Ghost, same thing, right? And then we have some e-commerce stuff. So right now we only have WooCommerce. We don't have Shopify yet. I know I've gotten a few requests about Shopify, but the main reason why we don't have Shopify yet is because they have like this more complicated way of doing things. Like WooCommerce, it was like simple, like you put a key, everything is pretty much done in a few minutes. With Shopify, it was a bit more complicated. Not saying we're not gonna have it, but just explaining why it's still not here, right? We have some social media stuff. So we have Late. If you've used Late, then you would see like the benefit here too. And then we have some miscellaneous stuff like Neuron Writer, Yahini, Data for SEO, Apify, and Exa, right? So all these things we have for the purposes of you doing research, you like looking stuff up, trying stuff out, all that stuff, right? Then the one thing that you probably don't know yet is that now we have MCP servers. Now you won't be able to see it on your end, but I will, right? So essentially we have like MCP servers and they show everything, right? And you could add your owns right here. You could add custom headers, everything, right? And so this is really good because this automatically expands how many things we could connect with by a billion, right? Because now you could connect with anything that offers an MCP server to then, I don't know, you could connect with the Gmail MCP server if it's a HTTPS MCP server, and then you could, I don't know, pull all your Gmails into the sheet and do something with them. I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do with them, right? But it's just to say all of this is just wonderful, right? So now before I proceed, one thing before I go and check the comments, you could press, here's one thing, you're gonna press save and close. When you're done saving and finding your settings, you're gonna press save and close, and you're gonna press save. It's important that you do both steps. We show the summary so you know what you're choosing, and then you save, right? So please remember to do, once again, both steps are super important. If you don't save here, then it's not gonna save. That's the simple answer. And I'm only saying this because I've gotten requests where people were having issues. So make sure you do it exactly this way. So now I'm gonna check the comments. So one sec. How do you get SheetXAI on the right sidebar? Okay. So to get it on the right sidebar, right here, this one's only for the demo people, for the people who have demos. I mean, and that's just me because I'm the developer, right? So there's no way to get it on the right sidebar. It used to be on the right sidebar. So let me say this. It used to be on the right sidebar, and we took it off because there's this function called Activate Sci, right? So this function right here is Activate Sci formula. Google was not allowing us to activate Sci formula automatically from here, right? So we were getting a lot of customer support requests where people would be like, hey, I'm trying to use this Sci thing and it wasn't working. So now I'm using, I had to, I'm clicking Activate Sci and it's having issues, blah, 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 blah. And so I just decided, hey, you know what? All of this stems from this being on the right. And so instead, we moved it all to extensions, right? So all of it is right here now. Now, for the real questions, I think that was the one question. Let me just check that there's none other. Okay, so, yep, you see, perfect. Okay, so another thing that, the good thing is, I know, if you're wondering how else you can see SheetXAI, we are bringing out a Chrome extension, right? And let me just show that to you really, really quick. Let me just show you guys the Chrome extension. Give me 1 second as I pull it up. And I know I'm going super slow with this stuff. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm only going super slow because I want to make sure like everybody understands everything, I promise you I'm going to go a lot faster once everything is kind of set up. But essentially the Chrome extension is going to pop right here, right? So for anybody who's like, oh, I hate having to press extensions, blah, 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 it's going to pop right here. So then you'll be able to click Open SheetXAI, you will sign in with Google, and then everything will be normal. It would work the same way, right? I'm going to make another webinar or something where I explain this part. The goal of this one is to kind of get everyone started on something with SheetXAI, right? But back to this. Now I can show you guys some stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create some mock data, right? So as of now, I have my thing on auto max. You could do auto basic, right? I could do auto basic, for example, and say, create 50 rows of mock data related of financial mock data. Let's just say, for example, right? And the reason why I'm creating financial mock data is so that we can then use that to, I don't know, create graphs and do all types of things right after, right? And as you guys can see, we've changed a lot on the interface. You know, this thing kind of comes in the middle. We now have bookmark, copy, edit directly under the cell, right? And here we have real streaming and check this out, we now have tips, right? So I noticed that, you know, sometimes it's hard to kind of learn everything from the jump. So I'm making sure to kind of add these little things while the AI is working. You could be learning about SheetXAI a little bit more. So essentially it's going to create, so it's creating the mock data. And so it's going to write it in the code in a few minutes, seconds. Let's give it a second. And the thing with auto basic is that it fully depends on the model. So some models are just like amazing. With auto, we're kind of like sending it to OpenRouter with like different models and kind of telling it, you know, what to do. And some models are just not as good, right? So here we're testing with auto basic. Let's see what this model kind of brings out. Hopefully it doesn't embarrass me. But let's see. Normally it shouldn't take this much time. Okay, it's processing. Okay, so this request timed out. We're gonna try with auto standard because I don't know what just happened. Once again, I think it's something that has to do with the fact that I was editing this before, but I'm not gonna use that excuse. Right, so we're just gonna write, same thing, create 50 rows of financial mock data, and then we're gonna allow the AI to kind of do its thing. And we are backing up the sheet now, which is really nice, right? Okay, so there you go. So this one created it immediately. I don't know what happened to the auto basic, but I'm actually kind of glad that that this just happened, because then you guys kind of see what troubleshooting looks like, right? So when you ask it something, it fails or it doesn't reply the right way, you have two options. You could come here, you could change the model, right? Or you could clear everything and call it and start again, right? The same model, keep in mind, the same model might fail on something, and then you clear chat and you ask it again, and then it works. So it's like the most confusing things in terms of that, but that's kind of how LLMs work, right? For most things, 90% of the time, they should work. I don't know what happened to the model right before this one. I think it probably got confused with something else, which I can look at the logs and figure out what happened. But essentially, that's kind of like the point I was trying to make right here. At least you guys saw what troubleshooting looks like, right? So here you can see the AI kind of wrote this, right? It did write all the amounts as negative, right? Well, not all of them, but some of them as negatives and positives. I'm going to tell it, can you only have positive amounts? And let me just see if there's any questions or comments. Okay, so the topic for OpenAI, so here's the good thing is, I knew that question was going to come up. So now we've made changes even, so before when you look at it, only OpenRouter had auto standard and all that stuff. Now they all do. So all of them have auto basic and auto standard, right? I believe the auto basic, auto standard, auto max, I believe here the auto basic right now is 4.1 mini. Standard is 5.1 codex mini. And I believe max is 5.3 codex, right? That's the three that we kind of have set up. The reason why I like the concept of auto basic, auto standard, auto max is because on my end in the back, I can see, like, if you guys text me, like if I get 1,000 DMs today and everyone is like, hey, this thing is not working, this thing is not working, I can change what the auto basic model is. And in that way, I don't have to keep emailing you guys and saying, hey, make sure you switch all your models from 4.0 mini to 4.1 mini. Hey, make sure you switch it to 5, you know? I do it on purpose with the auto basic, auto standard, auto max, and I make sure that, you know, whichever one it is stays within that price range. So that's what the basic, standard, max mean, is the price range, but it's also the performance, right? Like the max model is gonna be a lot more performant than the basic model, right? So that's pretty much the answer to that question, right? It's like, let me see if somebody asked somebody else. And somebody asks, is image to image also possible? And the answer is yes, right? I'm gonna show that to you guys in, let's see, what time is it? Oh, I know you guys have been here 30 minutes. I promise you, I'm gonna show you all of those, right? But essentially, yeah. So we have image to image. I could show you here real quick. You know, these are the image to image models that we have for File AI. Yeah, we have some for pretty much everyone. But especially on File, which is what I use the most and the one I recommend. I recommend OpenRouter for text, File AI for, you know, anything that's not text, like videos, images, audio, blah, blah, blah. All of that is File AI, highly recommended, right? But here, as you can see, we have File AI, and, you know, I could choose Nano, but it was on C Dream. I'm going to change it to Nano Banana Pro. I just want to change this back to OpenRouter. Okay, let's see. Which one did I just change right now? Oh, I could have sworn I changed one of these, but I guess not. Okay, that's perfect. So yeah, here I'm going to change it to Nano Banana Pro. Okay. So that I could show you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys images in a second, and the reason why is I don't want to like hop from like text to images to blah blah blah. You know, I don't want to like play too much ping pong with that, right? But as you guys can see, this is what happened, right? Let's see, what else do we have? Create. I could tell it to, let's see. Create. Let's see, what can I ask it to create? Anybody has a question, has anything that you want me? Yeah. So anything, yeah, this is getting recorded for starters. And also, what was this next question? It doesn't even show image edit. Yeah, so all of this, the image edit, it's gonna show in a few, right after this call, because I'm gonna push this new version out. Now here's the thing, you already have image edit. If you go in your settings and you look at File AI or anything of the sorts, and you scroll down, you're gonna see image stuff. You're gonna see image to, what is it called? You're gonna see an image thing. I'm trying to think of what it is. Oh, if you go to File AI, you go to image gen, you click on File AI, you're gonna see some models have the word edit on them, right? Jen, can you confirm that you see that? Because I believe that's kind of how we have it right now, is that if you go to File AI, you will see some models have edit on them. We're just trying to get rid of that kind of model where, you know, the image gen and image edit model are in the same thing, and instead kind of put them separately so that it's much easier and much better for workflows that kind of require it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so essentially the next thing we have, okay, let's say create a new sheet with mock lead data, just first names, last names, and random about sections. Okay, and so the goal that what I'm trying to do here is I'm gonna show you guys some of the side generation stuff, right? Side generation is basically anything that has to do with content generation, image generation, all that stuff, right? And I want to show this to you guys with a cold email example, for example. Okay, somebody asked for a generation of like a CRM. Okay. Yeah, let's try that. Uh, and I like using voice to kind of ask, so I'm gonna ask it with voice, right? Like, okay, I guess when I'm streaming, it doesn't let me use voice. Okay. Can you create a CRM like? And so it's pretty much the same thing, right? Pretty much the same thing. The AI is going to create, whatever it is. And with each of these, once again, we're backing up the sheet. So that's probably my most favorite improvement. So here, as you guys can see, if it created a new sheet, and after it created it, notice that there was an error somewhere. So then it tried to fix the error. You see, so it's like kind of it's doing this thing where it notices things, then it applies. There you go, right? And once again, this all depends on the model, right? So here, that's really what I want you to kind of understand is that this model did that. Another model, all of them would try to fix their errors, but making it the way this one looks would not always look the same. I really want you guys to kind of capture that, right? Hence why I typically say focus on just kind of like the price point, like unless you know for sure, like you have a model that you're like, okay, 1000% this model works flawlessly with everything, right? But for the person who asked about a CRM, was this kind of what you had in mind or not? Can you tell me a little bit? Okay. Anish, can you tell me a little bit of what you're thinking? But let me just kind of show this. So this is the deal value thing. This is like a CRM like setup. Now what I'm gonna do is okay, so for the sake of YouTube, all of these emails are fake emails because I know YouTube is gonna try to say that I put personal data out there. Everything here is fake emails. All of these emails are mock emails, fake emails, mock emails. Nothing here is real. Okay. So now we can proceed. So the next thing I wanted to do is, and the chat is getting like longer, right? But essentially what we want to do here is I'm going to start a new chat just for this. I'm going to tell it to create, so we made a lot of changes to what you guys generally consider as SI, right? And SI is basically, is our content generation agent, right? We used to try to train the chatbot to understand SI as like, I don't know, like, use SI the way a human understands it. But what we did notice is that when we train it as a sub agent, it performs way better. Like it understands way, way, way better, right? So in this case, we're going to test it this way. I'm going to say, can you put some SI agents in I that generate, so I won't use it here because all we have here is company name and email, so it won't really be as good of a cold email, but here we can do it, right? So I'm gonna say, can you put some SI agents in D that generate messages, cold messages for each row. It's to convince to try my AI for spreadsheet solution, right? And so what's going to happen is the AI is first going to read about SI agents, right? Because once again, our goal is to make this super, super simple, okay? And so, yeah, so essentially the AI put this thing, disregard the hashtag name. The main reason why there's a hashtag name is because I'm opening it from the side right here, right? If I do this, if I click this and I just click activate SI, you should notice it automatically turn to loading, right? You wouldn't need to do activate site because if you open it the right way, you won't have this problem, right? But essentially, as you can see, what is this? This is only like 51 rows, but you guys saw how quick that just happened, right? Let me see if there's any comments first of all, just so that I don't miss out on anything, okay? So here's the thing with Sai right now, and Manish, I just saw your message. I'm gonna answer that in 1 second. But with this right here, it kind of wrote all the emails. So this is really huge when you guys are like writing emails, and everything like that, right? I could tell it now. Okay, now put some sub agents in E that generate an image based on the name, person's name, right? And then now it could try to generate an image, right? So you're gonna see that appear, yep, right there. And so as a result, you never really have to learn how to kind of use this. But essentially, as you can see, it created a lot of foul AI requests. Now I gotta say, like, the foul AI request stuff, it's gonna take a second before it kind of like populates, right? Because we're making all these requests to file, and I don't know how much money I have on my file, but we should at least get some of these guys to be good, right? So once this returns, and it will return in like a few seconds, minutes, whatever, we're just waiting for Nano Banana to finish generating the image, right? And so here we have like an image. Let's see what it kind of generated for Patricia. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that's what it generated. And so it's kind of the same thing all across, right? John Lopez. Oh, so it generated like these fake profile pictures, but not really profile picture things. So this is also, once again, to show the image generation, right? Now for image to image, I could show that in a sec. Let me just check that there's no comments. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And so for image to image, here we're just gonna put image to image. Now I did notice that this guy, the chatbot, sometimes struggles with when it comes to image. No fault of its own. It's something that we haven't set up in the back, so I'm gonna do that one manually. But all we have to pretty much say, and I don't want to do it for 100 rows, 50 rows, so I'm just gonna drop this down to only 8 rows because these AI models cost a lot of money, as you guys probably noticed. So I'm dropping it down to just this many rows. And what we're gonna type is #Sci array. So array just pretty much tells our system, hey, run this on every row, right? And here we're gonna do image gen and make this yellow. So it's gonna make whatever this profile image is yellow, right? So #E. So let me explain what this means. So #Sci, obviously that's to call our system. It's pretty much saying, hey, SheetXAI, check this out. Array is saying run this on all rows. That way you don't have to write Sci. You don't have to write Sci on every row. And image gen here is pretty much saying generate an image, right? All of the image gen stuff, all of that stuff, I'm gonna show you guys how to never have to memorize it. But one, the AI can write it for you, right? But even without the AI writing it for you, I'm gonna show you guys how not to memorize it. Anyways, I'm gonna run this, and it's gonna run and turn these into the right, I don't know, color, all that stuff, right? So this is gonna run. It's gonna run on all rows, right? And once again, just tasks, right? Now, in order to actually do it without memorizing anything, you would have used this, right? So here you would have said the input type is an image because it's image to image. The output type is an image, right? and then you would put here, generate, rewrite, make this yellow, blah, 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 right? And then it would give you the right, you put make this yellow, and you would kind of like, you would choose what is this, right? So in this case, you would choose E, and then it's going to tell you exactly how to write it. Yeah. And if you do want to learn, you could go here, and then it will kind of show you what everything uses, like PDF for PDFs, URL for URLs, right? So all of this is in here. I'm slowly trying to kind of get away from having to even look through here, right? That's why I have the sub agents with the AI. And let's see. So we have and this is really good for, let's say you're generating YouTube thumbnails, or you're generating like billions of different things at once. You could generate the YouTube description and the YouTube thumbnail all in one, right? Let me just see this. Let's see the images that I came up with. So as you can see, this is a yellow version of what was already there, right? And so you could do that in bulk, depending on how much money you have in your account. Let me just take a look at the comments, because I just want to see. Okay, so the second question was, can you get an image from Google? The most important thing is that you have an image URL. Okay, if you don't have an image URL, right, we have a way where you can press extensions right here, SheetXAI, and there's a bulk image and PDF uploader right here, right? So this is good if you have images on your laptop that you want to use. You have images on your phone, wherever, right? And we allow you to upload up to 400 images or PDFs at once, but that's only for 24 hours. Now keep this in mind. Whatever you upload, we are gonna delete in 24 hours. Why? Because we're not a storage solution, at least not with images that you bring from your phone or your devices, right? But at least you would be able to use it to create whatever it is you want to create, whether that's alt text, whether that's, you want to make some changes to images, whatever it is, you would be able to do. But we're not a storage solution, at least not with, we don't store images that you bring to our platform. We don't have enough storage to, keep that forever, right? So this is purely for you to, put and then use as soon as possible before you move on to whatever is next, right? So that's what this is for. Right, and here you just put your images. When you upload files, it's gonna give you links that you can then use here, right? Let's see if there's another question that I'm not seeing. No depends. Okay, so if you're getting the error that says no dependency columns found. Wait, by the way, are you guys seeing my screen? Are you guys seeing this screen? Can somebody confirm? Because I need to be sure that you guys are seeing this screen. Like the Google Sheet screen. Can anybody confirm that you're seeing the Google Sheet screen? Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much, guys. But essentially, this is what I was gonna say. If you're getting, so here's the thing with array commands, right? And you're gonna see exactly why this makes sense. If you type a command like #sci, what's the meaning of love? For example, there's no point in this running on all rows because, like it's not referencing anything that all rows would need, right? So if you use array in this case, you have to mention a specific column so that it then runs for each column in that row, right? Like, because if not, if you type #sci hi and you put array, do you just want it to send 1,000 rows of hi? You know what I'm saying? So essentially you need that dependency column, which is what we're, #sci, tell me about this, #B. And the reason why you need that other hashtag is to be able to quickly, so that it kind of replaces what it is. I don't know if that makes any sense. Tell me what you guys think. And if you had tried this, also tell me in the chat, because then I could help you figure out what was causing whatever error you were dealing with, right? So I'm checking the chat right now. Okay, Jen, tell me something. Did you get that? Was the issue that you had tried without, what is it called? Thank you so much for the confirmations, by the way. And I was gonna say, Jen, tell me, was the issue was it that you had tried without using some sort of dependency column, or was it, or did you try with a dependency column and then you had that issue still? Because that would make two different things, right? One thing I do want to show you guys here, and I'm really happy, I really thank anybody who's still watching. Honestly, it means a lot. I know sometimes it can be boring, sometimes it's not, but I want to show this to you guys. There's a button right here, especially for the people who bought credits, right? This button right here opens this that says, thank you for the feedback, help us understand what happened. You don't have to write anything here, like on this page, but you should write something. You should either share the sheet or allow us to look at the logs. Because here's the thing. If you send us an error message or something went wrong, we don't automatically read your entire conversation. That privacy concerns, So essentially you have to give us permissions for that so that our system allows us to look at your logs in a way where we can see that this is David's logs, right? Because as privacy-wise, what happens is as you're typing a conversation, the moment you press that clear button, the whole thing disappears. We do store prompts. So that one, it's been in our privacy policy. We store anonymized prompts. So if you type, hey, we know that, well, not me, but like our system knows that somebody somewhere typed, hey, right? We don't store sheet structure. We don't store sheet data. We only store the prompt that you type in to the chat, right? We don't store your prompts that you type here, only the ones you type to the chat, and then those get reviewed by another AI, our AI kind of like conversation like seer or whatever. And so those don't even get reviewed by a human. And it basically reviews it to pretty much see if there's a lot of dissatisfaction versus satisfaction, or if there's things like the AI doesn't understand certain things, right? And then after it's seen, all of that stuff is deleted immediately, right? So typically your prompt doesn't stay on our system, never stays on our system past 30 days, but especially doesn't stay on our system after this happens. So typically that's 24 hours, really. But nothing, no PII, nothing gets associated to you, right? Yeah, so I'm just had to kind of bring that up also because I know privacy policies and all those things are like super legal documents long. And so I just want to clarify exactly how our storage or prompt storing kind of setup works. And to this question right here, right? Do you mind if we look at your conversation logs? If you don't give us this, we can't really see what happened, right? We have thousands of customers using the platform every day. We don't really store the conversation, so it's really hard. But when you do give us this, it alerts a human on our team that's like, hey, this is the conversation log of everything that happens. And then we can also see what the AI tried, and then we can help you fix it. Now, here's the beauty of it. If you're on a credit plan, we're going to pay you back, which means we're going to give you credits for kind of reporting something. So if you lost credits or anything, I highly recommend use that because then that helps us quickly know, okay, the AI is messing up, but the AI is not messing up, right? Let's see if there's a question. Okay, makes sense, but it does not seem to resolve the issue in my case. Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna have to see your specific case to understand what went wrong or what's going wrong. Jen, just whenever you get a chance, just send me a picture of, I don't know, of I just need a picture of two things. I need a picture of the dependency column that you're kind of referencing and the formula that you put down, right? Or not the formula, but what you put down. Another thing could be too that, and here's my question, is did you make sure you set a content model in settings, right? Because if you haven't done that, that could possibly be what's causing the issue. Let's see if I look here. Okay, this already timed out. By the way, timeouts only happen on Google. They don't happen in Excel. So, if you're an Excel user, you probably haven't seen the word, you probably haven't seen that thing. But Jen, make sure you've set something here inside content right here, right? If you have and you're still dealing with the issue, immediately DM support and I'll help you figure out what's happening. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, so we're very late. So I'm just gonna speed this up. But essentially, if you go to settings, somebody asked about what does the late social media app get used for. Let's see, social media. I believe we already wrote an article for this. Please. Loading. Okay, so essentially the goal here is to be able to like post, schedule posts, bulk posts, and things like that. Or you could import your post history from late into a new sheet, right? So basically we have articles for every single one of the tabs so that we kind of explain what it does, right? So to the person who asked, sorry I didn't get your name, let me get your name. So Internet Marketing 4133. And Internet Marketing 4133, that's exactly how to do it, right? What can I show you guys to make this last minute? Okay, so my Anish had asked about something with graphs and automations. I would need to kind of see a little bit more. Here's my thing. If you guys ask me for, let's say, CRM data, for example, like you want to build a CRM, I would need to see what a built CRM looks like in terms of somebody else has built a CRM in Google Sheets. Let's see what that looks like. And then I can test it in a way where it's like I'm comparing what the AI gave versus what the AI didn't give, right? Like here, for example, I could be like, I don't even know what I would check. Maybe we check how many deals closed, deal value by deals closed or something like that. Like, let me ask a max model. What graphs can we deduct from this sheet? Right? Let me just make sure I'm not leaving you guys with questions. But here I'm asking a max model, and it will kind of tell me like what it can deduct from here. Let's see. Okay, so it found a few things, right? Revenue by lead source. Okay, we could probably do this one right here. Can you create a revenue by lead source graph and then a pipeline value by stage graph? Right, and so here we're gonna pretty much give it to the AI to create both graphs. And we kind of wait for it to kind of perform. And by the way, you could use stuff like expand, right? You could use expand, which should open something right here, right? That's gonna have exactly what the AI said earlier. You could use any of them, right? Like you could use retry, and then it's gonna retry, right? Okay, so it created revenue by lead source. Okay, and then it's gonna pretty much like agree that it's done, and then it's gonna create the next thing. Okay, second graph, pipeline value by stage, right? There you go. So essentially we kind of see like how many people are here, how many people are in qualification, how many people are here, right? Obviously max models are 10 times better than like any basic model. They cost more, but they're 10, 20, 30 times better even. Like they're really good, right? Let's see. Is anybody still watching? Anyways, but essentially, that explains it right here. Then we have the MCP, right? For the MCPs, let's do I could do the Notion one, but my Notion one is not that good. Let's try the EXA one, right? So this is the EXA one is very, very good when you're dealing with like when you want to do like a financial model, for example, right? So in this example, I'm going to say, I want to build a financial model that tells me, that helps me decide whether to build a hotel in the middle of LA, right? I want you to use random numbers to do some research and build a financial model. Do some research with the EXA MCP on the market and build a financial model that will forecast potential revenues, right? Here's the thing. The main reason why, if you've tried to build financial models in SheetXAI before, I still feel like this prompt that I gave is too basic to build anything super meaningful, right? So essentially here it's calling EXA, which is gonna do like deep search. Oh, here is deep search, not even deep research. But essentially, like I said, if you want to do anything useful, you probably need to give it a bigger prompt, especially with financial models. Why? Because financial models are more professional. They require data. It needs to know your data. It needs to know what it needs. How would you tell a human? You would typically not go to a human and not give them anything and be like, hey, build a financial model, right? So I want you to kind of think of that, right? So essentially, as you can see, it did some research here, right? It found average daily rate, construction cost, and then occupancy rate, right? And then now it's gonna build the small model, right? So here are the assumptions and then different things, right? This is like a basic model. Now I could show you guys another model that I built earlier. Let's see if I kind of have that somewhere here. Okay, yeah. So as you guys can see here, it did a lot of research, right? And it did a lot of research and it was able to build a financial model with like capital stack and assumptions, development budget, pro forma, returns and valuations, sensitivity analysis. So it entirely depends on like how good you kind of ask it, right? Like look at this. This one has, I forgot what these graphs are called, but essentially, once again, it fully depends on how you ask it, right? Let me just, how to research on SheetXAI is access to, really nice question. So access to EXA is not included on SheetXAI by, directly. For the credit users, I plan to add it very, very soon, right? I plan, normally everybody has to get EXA directly, whether you're an MRR user, a credit user, an LTD user, really, you get EXA directly, right? I'm only paying for, our system is only kind of taking care of, our system is taking care of the AI models, like the AI payments and all that stuff, if you're a credit user. But let's assume, if you're an LTD user, you will have to, just by default, you will have to bring your own API key. Now, here's the thing though, is EXA is super cheap. I think even with their API key, they give you like a month free. They give you like 1,000 credits every month, which is more than enough for most searches, right? I use EXA a lot. And I think that was kind of the missing piece in SheetXAI, right? Because if you go to pricing right here, right, they do have, they have this thing at $7 per 1K request. But I promise you guys, like, unless your AI does deep research, which is, for the people I do financial models for, which, financial models cost a lot of money. So for the people who I do financial models for, we've had the AI do some deep research. And when the AI did deep research, I think the deep research itself cost $2. I think that's the highest I've seen. But if you keep in mind, a lot of people charge $10,000 to $40,000 for financial models. Like that's real amount. So $2 on search is nothing for our customers who ask for financial models and all that stuff, right? So depends on what you want to use it for. But I promise you guys, it's super cheap. And here you go, right? Run up to 1,000 requests for free every month just for having the API key, right? So it's just to kind of say, try it out. If you do want to use Exa, try it out, right? It's gonna be really good for anything where you require data, where you require data right now, right? I don't know if that helped or if I just made things more confusing. Let's see. Okay, no question. How to research on SheetXAI. So essentially, you can actually have the AI perform some research on you. For you, right? So you could either ask this guy to use sub agents, right? And I always say to tell it to use sub agents, not because of the fact that it can't do it, but kind of like any other AI. Sometimes it's like I would rather tell it what I want rather than like letting it just go about, because if you don't tell it to use sub agents, my fear is that it tries to grab all your rows. So like let's look at this place right here. My fear is that it tries to literally grab this whole table and then create whatever data you want from it just for column I, which I feel like would be a waste of money, right? So typically, we've trained it on sub-agents. It's pretty good with sub-agents. However, I definitely recommend that you use, what is it called? That you get it to, let me just clear this real quick. But I definitely recommend that you get it to use sub agents. Like you could say it, you could ask it, and then if you see that it's not doing it, switch it, right? Now for automations, right? I really thought this was gonna be done a lot faster. I'm sorry, I was also a bit late. But for automations, if you click agent right here, you can see agent learn formula app scripts. App scripts is more than likely what you're gonna need for any sort of automations. And Excel also has one, right? It's VBA in Excel, right? So if I clear this chat, and this is just for now. In the future, we're gonna have a better way to kind of have automations and stuff. But essentially here, like I wanna say something like, hey, every time I add a row, I want the sheet to send me an email to david@sheetsai.com where it tells me what was added. Okay, so if I ask this in AppScripts mode, the AI should, I was making some edits before this, but the AI should give me pretty much the code that would do this. But let's see what it kind of gives. But yeah, and then this would be for you to quickly kind of to do automations and everything of the sorts, right? Once again, the app scripts side of things. Waiting for the AI. So I have it on auto max, so bigger models also take longer. So that's another thing. Let's see. Okay, so it gave me the code to create it, right? So as you can see, this code is like pretty big. Let's see if I can expand it. Okay, so as you can see here, it gave the actual full code of what to kind of paste in app scripts, right? So you can always kind of like grab this, put it in app scripts, and then it's gonna set up everything, right? It literally checks and sends emails. This is a lot of code. I don't expect you guys to really understand any of this, but I'm just kind of bringing up like, you could already do automations with SheetXAI. It's just Google doesn't allow us to do it from our end. So we're working on like external ways that we could do it. And in the meantime, you could use app scripts. And, with app scripts, there is no limit, right? You could even build a whole app with app scripts, like by just asking SheetXAI, and it's going to build the whole app for you, right? So just to say, app scripts is your way if you want to do more crazy stuff. agent is your way if you want the chat to do spreadsheet stuff, which is what we're kind of specialized in. Let me just see if there's a question that I'm not looking at. Is anybody still here? I know, I've been blabbering for a second now. Is anybody still here? Okay. Let's see. What's next? Now I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've got, right? That way we can kind of have... Okay, good. Oh, I got a little scared, guys. Nobody was replying. I was like, okay, I guess we're just gonna finish this. I know you guys are giving me your time, and I'm sorry if tell me if there's something that I'm not answering that you want me to answer. For example, Anish, you asked about the CRM stuff. For the CRM stuff to really answer it, I would need to take a much better look at your expectation and then kind of retry it, because without that I would ask it build a CRM, but if I don't know the CRM that you have in mind, it will be really hard to replicate that. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to have a call and really go through this together, right? Anytime. But essentially the new features, I've kind of showed you guys it calling MCPs. You guys have seen it streaming. Streaming just means when you ask the AI for something, you could see it typing, right? You guys haven't seen backups yet, so I'm going to show that to you guys right now. But you guys have seen sub agents, so that's pretty nice. I'm going to show you guys a backup right now. So essentially, disclaimer, how backups work with SheetXAI Google Sheets is the AI grabs, we make a copy of the sheet, right? So we make a copy of the sheet, which you will probably, okay, I did clear the sheet multiple times. So let's try doing something, simple. Let's do, I'm going to tell it to delete the email column, for example, right? And for this, let me kind of go back to a more standard model. Right, and so it's gonna delete. Okay, perfect. Right, so first I want to show you guys where the backup is, because I can guarantee somebody somewhere is gonna ask me about this. Okay, so I need to show it to you guys first, although I really like this sensitivity thingy. Yeah, it's loading. As you guys can see, this is the file so it creates a second file. And that file is same copy of your initial file, and it has like some data that helps us kind of track which sheet you're talking about, right? Why does it do this? And one, we do this because we do not want to store your sheet data. Very, very important for us that we never store your sheet data. Okay, that's number one. Number two, after it does it, after it's done and the AI kind of like responds and we perform operations, the AI always, if I clear a sheet right now, it's gonna delete that sheet, right? So there's that. Now, here's the thing. Let's test something else. Let's test undoing, right? So if you look at the bottom of the page right here, you're gonna notice it's creating copies of the original file. And then when it creates copies of the original file, in this case, for some reason, it didn't like return us to the original file. But essentially, it created the copy, but it didn't return us back to this page. But typically, it would return you back to the page you were on, right? I know one of the biggest issues with using SheetXAI sometimes is I'm scared that my data gets lost. So now this should fix it. And in Excel, it's pretty much the same thing. Let's see if I can show that to you guys too, because I don't want to just be one-sided showing everything. Okay, so Dana. Okay, Dana, you asked the question. You said, what's the difference between agent and sub-agent and SI? Okay. Sub-agent and SI are the same thing, right? I just want to say that sub-agent and SI are the exact same thing. It's just how we describe it to the AI. But you could say SI, you could say sub-agent. I'm just telling you that the AI would reference it back as sub-agent, right? Um, and, we kind of set it up that way because you know about SI, but we're having so many customers who haven't fully grasped the concept of SI, right? Hence why we're kind of transitioning the AI to be able to do it so that people at some point never have to learn what SI is, right? That's always the goal. Is like we're slowly, like before we used to have people learn how to write a SI formula. Now people write hashtag SI. Now we're trying to get to a point where people never even know what SI is. They just know if I ask the agent to generate emails, it's gonna generate emails, right? So I'm trying to get away as much as possible from anything where you aren't talking to the agent directly, right? So if you understand Psi, if you know Psi, you could do the formulas and all those things yourself, right? If if the concept of Psi is not something that's in your head, like that's something that if it's something that you're having a hard time to grasp, I just recommend you ask the AI for whatever you want, and then the AI is going to decide when to use sub agents and when not to use sub agents, right? Simple things like, for example, if I told it, I know earlier I said, you should tell it to use sub agents. I was saying that to kind of guarantee that it uses those. But let's say you didn't know how to use sub agents, right? And let's say I had data. Let me kind of bring it down here. Let's see if this thing hasn't timed out yet. Can you write cold emails for each of the people in people and put it in column D, right? The AI should know to look for sub-agents. You see? So as you can see, it says, first I need to fetch the full schema for sub-agent request. So same thing. I just said it just in case the AI doesn't say it. Anything that's content generation, anything that's row by row is typically better done with sub-agents. And anything that's not row by row, like delete this sheet, blah, 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 all of those things can be done with the AI, right? And I have a really nice video that kind of breaks both, but you don't really have to learn it because, I'm teaching the AI how to do it so that you never have to learn it. But if you do want to learn it to kind of have more fine-grained control, it's kind of like learning MCPs or what MCPs are versus just asking the AI, bring my Notion data here, right? It's like I'm kind of giving you what the technical term is, and then, but it's up to you whether you want to use the technical term or just ask, and the AI is gonna do. The concept of kind of remembering like sub agents and all that thing is more important the lower the model. So here's what I mean. If I go to auto basic, there's a chance it won't be able to answer, it won't have noticed that it needs to do side agents, right? Because it's like this, the less smart the model is, the less it kind of like uses its brain. I don't know how to explain it, but that's essentially what happens, right? So I'm kind of like bringing up that difference to kind of say, if you use a max model or a standard model, 9 times out of 10, you never really have to teach them anything, right? If you use a basic model, which is super cheap, like very, very cheap, but there's a possibility, there's just a higher chance that you have to kind of train it and teach it different things, right? So there's that. To the question of Anish, please send over some emails. To a question from Jen. I give it an idea in row 1, and then it does predefine things in row B and C. Yeah, so if you give it an idea in row 1, and I'm assuming this is like content generation, right? So if I say, oh, okay, that's great. Nice to know that the explanation helps, Dana. For Jen, for the question of like, if you give it an idea in row 1, then it does predefine things in row B and C, right? We could test this right here, right? So we could test this right here where I could be like, hey, add, and I don't know if you meant idea for real, but add YouTube video ideas in column A. Random YouTube video ideas in column A. for, what could it be for? For an education channel, right? So essentially it should, okay. So it's gonna generate 10 creative YouTube video ideas for an education channel in column A. So there you go, right? And essentially, because in your case, the AI doesn't know that it just generated it. So I won't do it in the same conversation. I'll wait for it to quote unquote finish executing code. And then I'm gonna ask it to generate the script and the image prompt for the thumbnail, okay? Okay, in column B, generate a short script for each of these video ideas. Then in C, generate the, what is it? The image prompt for the thumbnail. And in D, generate the thumbnail image, right? Now this is like a, this is like a together type of thing. It should work, yes. Right, so essentially it's gonna do all three at once. Let's watch. Right, so all three are gonna run, right? And you should see, so the first one runs first, right? So as you can see here, generate the script is gonna generate the image. With the image one, we'll see what it kind of gives, right? But let's see. Right, so here is generating the kind of the image based on, this is the image prompt, right? A stunning YouTube thumbnail for quantum physics explained in 5 minutes, right? So it's pretty much doing it based on, so this is the script. Let's see what the script looks like. Right, so you could pretty much use that to, this would replace a lot of the apps that you guys are probably currently using, right? And yeah, so you kind of just wait. When the images generate, I'll tell you what my worry with the images is I wonder if they generated before the prompt or not. I don't think they did, but that's like the only thing that comes in my mind where it's like, okay, if it did, then it's a problem, right? Once again, if it did, by the time you try it, it won't be doing that anymore because I would have fixed it, or I would have like made it kind of wait for the one before, right? But I just kind of want to see. Let me see if there's any questions here. Okay. Yeah, so essentially, so we have two questions. So Jen asked if it could do it with custom command. Oh yeah, so with custom commands, so essentially with custom commands, what we're doing with custom commands is pretty much, oh my God. Okay, what we're doing with custom commands is we're pretty much just creating, what is it called? If you use custom commands, you're creating exactly what I just created here, like script, prompt, image, stuff like that. But you're creating it with, you're kind of creating it all in one. Now here's the thing, this custom command, setup is what we have right now, but I've been taking a hard look at possibly changing how it looks and everything, once again, to make it just simple, right? Super simple. That's always the goal here. So within the next, I don't know, week, this might not look the same. But when I change things, it's not going to be like a complete different system where you have no idea what to do. If anything, it's going to make it a lot more self-explanatory, right? But essentially with these prompts, like let's say you want to do exactly what we just did with the AI, you would say the input type is text and output is text. And here you would just say, generate a script based on the YouTube video ideas, right? And then you add a column. So when you're adding the column, that just means, okay, first column is here, the next column, right? What's gonna happen in the next column? And then here you can be like, generate an image prompt for a YouTube thumbnail based on the script, or based on the YouTube video idea, whichever one. Or you could just have it where it generates based on the result from this, right? And you do the same thing here, where it's like, okay, generate an image based on the image prompt, which was the result. Now here's the thing, if you do it like that, the output type, you just want to put image, right? And here it tells you how to use it, right? But let's just say we save it. So I'm gonna name this one Jen my friend. Okay, I'm gonna save command. So it's right here. If I click copy, and I don't want to run this, but if I click copy and I paste that here, for example, if I press enter, it's automatically gonna start running. I can guarantee you, right? I don't want it to run, but essentially it would automatically start running, pretty much. Let's see. And somebody asks, can I use the knowledge for these YouTube topics from Notebook LM MCP or the research done in another sheet tab to come up with the script? That's the hard part. Like with the content generation, we currently don't have multi-sheet content generation. What I would recommend is you have a master sheet that has everything, and then you ask the AI to kind of create sheets that pull from other sheets, right? It's gonna use something called import data. I believe that's what it's called. But essentially, that's what I would recommend. I would highly recommend that, right? That's for the question about can you use the knowledge from Notebook LM MCP. And the reason why is because these AIs, like the sub agents, don't use MCPs. The main AI does, but the main AI doesn't go row by row here. That's why we have the sub agents. The reason why is because if you have 1,000 rows, if we sent 1,000 rows to this main AI, and this main AI had to run 1,000 rows, I can guarantee you, not only will your bill at the end of the month be just huge, but I can guarantee you it won't be as accurate, because the difference is the main AI running 100 or 1,000 rows or whatever, it's gonna hallucinate somewhere in there. With these guys, like pretty much the sub agents in this case, it's running them row by row, where it's like the AI only knows about this row. So it could create better content, better analysis, better classification, whatever it is, right? So that's like the main thing. I don't know what happened here. I think I can guarantee there is some sort of error that happened with the file AI model because both of these ran at the same time. I can ask it to, I could delete these, and I could be like, hey, can you redo just the column D1, please? Okay, so this timed out. And we're still trying to see how we could bypass Google's timeout. Google is pretty strict. We tried a few things, but yeah, it hasn't really been super easy to bypass the timeout. But we're trying some more things, right? Let me send that. Okay, so that one should run again. This time, I think it would pop out. And I believe I know what happened, why it didn't pop out on C. But just wanted to kind of show this. Let's see. We'll give it a second so it could generate. I just want to see if there's a question that I'm not looking at. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why it can't generate like the YouTube topics from the notebook. Well, the ideas it could generate from Notebook LM if there's an MCP, right? Because as you remember, the agent was the one that generated the ideas. Okay, so now let's look at some of the thumbnail images. Because I don't want to, can you put equal formulas in E that reference the image in D? You know, normally I'll just put formulas here that would kind of take care of it. That will show me just so that we don't have to click on each, because that can get distracting. But let's see, once it kind of puts the formulas, you'll see this thing. So if the AI ever puts formulas, you'll see this right here, right? And then everything is gonna show up. Okay. Wow, this is actually really good. You know, if you're a YouTuber, you know, you should probably get SheetXAI. But essentially, as you can see here, 10 scientific myths, right? And this is all generated with Nano Banana, right? How the Roman Empire actually collapsed. But guys, look at this picture. This is amazing. Quantum physics, 5 minutes. History of every element, blah, 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 right? So if you guys can see that, you would see that essentially created the images, right? And we could ask it to create the video too. I just don't want to spend, you know, videos cost a lot with AI. Let's put it that way. And this is like 11 rows, but you see the hidden geometry in nature, right? What happens to your body in space? And so it followed this system prompt to pretty much create this, right? Yeah, I don't know if you guys see this. I mean, not see this, but you know, how do you guys feel about this? What are you noticing? But essentially that's the case right here. I did delete it just because, you know, we don't really need it right now. But that kind of shows you image to prompts or whatever, right? But let me do this actually, because I know many people asked about image edits, right? So here I'm gonna say, let me first make sure that I have the right model for image edits, because some of these models are very expensive. So let's test with image edit. Let's see what model I could use. Okay, Nano Banana is probably like the best one for this case. I'm just gonna remove half of this because I just don't want to spend the money on it. Let's see. And is anybody else here? Okay, people are still here. But to kind of show you, you know, show it kind of creating the image. Here I'm gonna do it manually, but you wouldn't have to do it manually. I'm only doing it manually here because of the fact that right before the call, I tested with an image edit sub agent, and I noticed like a quick bug that I hadn't noticed before. But here I'm gonna say, can you make this image? What's something we could say? Can you, somebody give me a prompt. How are we gonna edit these images? Somebody say something. Give me a prompt that I can use if anybody else is here. I feel like this system, the live chat, doesn't really show me who else is here. But I could kind of show. And by the way, if anybody's here and has a question that, you know, they haven't, you know, if they've asked it in the chat, like not in the chat, when signing up, I'm gonna go through those in a second. But if while I'm just, you know, kind of doing these things, you're like, hey, I have a question and you haven't answered my question so far, I'd love to kind of answer them directly. But yeah. Okay. YouTube is not trying to show me you guys' responses or anything like that. So we're just gonna move on. So if you wanted to create an image from these images, I could hide this for now because this is it's just, you know, very confusing. But here, let's say we do #sci array. Once again, remember, #sci just calls our system. Array just says run this on all rows. Image gen means we're generating images. And here I just want to say, make this, or change the background to yellow. And make the main object / character smile. Okay. #D. So here what's happening is I'm pretty much saying change the background to yellow and make the main object smile. #D just means I'm just referencing what this, you know, like what image we're editing, right, is D. right? So I'm just gonna copy this just so I kind of have that with me. And you should notice it change in a few minutes. Okay, so once it starts loading, it's gonna run, and then all the rows are gonna run. And then now we just wait. Let's see, did I get any extra messages? So after it generates, I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna answer all the questions you guys have had. Okay, so now let's see what the edits look like, right? Equal image, this right here. So as you can see, I told it to make everything kind of smile, and it did. It made them smile. So this is also good if you're kind of generating multiple things, right? I really like this picture right here. I might take it. I might steal it for something. I don't even know what. So with this, you could create, actually, so here's where it gets interesting. You could create like a faceless YouTube channel, for example, and have this create the prompt, have this create the audio that would go with the channel, create a thumbnail, right? You could have it here and it would just keep creating for you, right? And the beauty of it is, if you have an array formula like these guys, right? Like this one, I believe is an array formula. If you write, look, if you close this and then you add a new row, it should normally run in a tiny bit. You see, as you can see, it ran both of these directly, right? Exactly. And yeah, I have a support email. Just email me at david@SheetXAI. david@SheetXAI.com or SheetXAI. Everybody calls it SheetXAI. But let me answer some of the questions you guys have had, because I know, so as you can see here, even with SheetXAI close, this works. So that means even on your phone, if you set this up once, even on your phone, when you add a new kind of line, a new idea, it's automatically gonna create another row, right? Let's see. And just for us to kind of re-see, I just want to make sure I showed. You see, so because we deleted it, this says that the file is in trash. This was from the backup. But let me also show, I want to show the financial model again in case anybody needs it. You know what I mean? Where was it? Okay, so this was the financial model that I was showing earlier, right? As you can see right here, it created this, right? You see, so this pretty much has a whole bunch of data. Now, can it be better? There's always a way to make it better, right? And I'm pretty sure if you edit the assumptions, these things change. But it's kind of to say, like, this would take you 90% of the way there. And considering financial models are things that people charge, I don't know. I've seen people charge 40,000. I've seen people charge 10,000, and people have been charged 10,000 and thought it was a discount. So it's just to kind of say, like, guys, this thing could get you 90% of the way there, and maybe you can start selling financial models, right? It's just to kind of say, like, and the best part, you could DM me and be like, hey, I've tried financial models. This is what I noticed. How can we make it better? Or, can you make this better? Or can you train it to become better at this, that, whatever it is, right? I'm always open if it makes the life of my customers easier. And obviously, if it puts more, let's see. Yeah, so essentially, if you put just a regular SCI formula, like if you put, let's see, #SCI, tell me a short story, it will, after it writes the answer, it won't keep the formula, right? And the reason why it's on purpose, because we used to have it where the formula stays, but Google reruns every formula every time you open the sheet. And so people would end up losing money because every time they opened the sheet, it would rerun 100,000 formulas or however many formulas they had, right? I was scared of a lawsuit. So, of course, I immediately changed it where now it doesn't just run the formula like this, it runs the formula when needed. No idea if that makes sense. It runs the formula to get the answer, and then the formula is made static automatically, right? The only ones that stay are array formulas because they don't have anything but the same thing. Like, this one right here, even if I changed data on it, it will return the exact same thing. Watch, the same thing, right? So as a result, it never reruns. But all of these are static. Jan, do you see that? Yeah, hey, Karmeshvar. I don't know if I said your name right, and I really hope I did. Karmeshvar. Please, I'm still here for a little bit, so please, no need to, I know you want to go back and rewatch the video. You could also ask here, right? Like you could ask here and I will kind of give you the answer you need right now, so that, you don't have to watch an hour plus video. Although I will put timestamps on the video, but I kind of want to show you guys, I want to answer the questions that people ask because I feel like I'm kind of going in circles right now. But let's go right here. Okay, so I've shown you guys a bit of the new stuff. We got MCPs, we got streaming, we got backups, we got sub agents, and I believe these make SheetXAI at a level, I consider it now at a level where I can look at almost every other AI for Excel, AI for spreadsheet company and genuinely see that I'm better. Like, because the streaming was a big issue before, that's fixed. The backups, not all of them have that, right? So that's also like a big thing that we changed. The sub agents, most of the other AI for Excel, whether that's Claude for Excel, what's another one? Claude for Excel. I'm not going to name all my competitors on the phone. But essentially, even Google Gemini, they don't really have sub-agents where the main AI kind of calls these sub-agents in every cell that could do images, video, blah, 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 whatever it is, right? Then we have MCP. MCP is something none of them currently have. I don't doubt that they will very soon, but as of now, they don't. And we also have non-MCP integrations, right? So that makes things 10 times better, easier for everyone. Right? So let me answer some of these questions. Right? So getting started in the setup. Somebody asked, how do I get started with SheetXAI if I've never used it before? Right? That's going to be in the beginning of the video. But essentially, think of what it is that you typically... There's two parts to SheetXAI, right? There's the content generation path, and then there's the actual spreadsheet assistant part, right? I want you to think... what are the things that are hard for me to do in spreadsheets? Whether that's VLOOKUP, that's, all these things. And, use SheetXAI like your assistant. So, you could open a SheetXAI window. Okay. My screen is messing up a little bit. But you could open SheetXAI right here. And you could say, I don't know, like, in this case, I'm opening here. But remember, you have to open it from right here. Extensions. SheetXAI, open SheetXAI. That's very easy, right? And here, all you could say is delete C to G, right? And I'm even going to go with a basic model, although earlier the basic model was tripping, but I think now it should be better. We'll see. But here I'm pretty much asking the AI to delete, once again, C to G, right? So we'll see if it does it better. If it doesn't, I'm going to figure out why the basic model was tripping, right? Tripping just means like it's not working how it's supposed to work. But yeah. So here you just wait. And by the way, when you see calling AI, that means we've already sent the call and we're just waiting for the AI to reply. So the time of kind of calling AI is not in our hands. Right, like it fully depends on how long OpenRouter or OpenAI or any of those guys decides to take before replying to us, right? backing up Sheets, all these things, they are in our hands. Okay, so as you can see, everything is deleted. Now, in your case, you probably not delete, right? You will probably need something like, I don't know, like create a pivot table, which I can also show right here. So as you can see here, it's kind of verifying that everything is deleted, right? So I love this type of agentic type of mode that, you know, we've trained it to become better at. If you watched earlier parts of the video, you will see that we made this like revenue by lead source, pipeline value by stage. We made this with the AI, right? But here too, I'm really scared for this email column. Let me actually take it out because I'm worried that YouTube will try to take my video down, which I don't like. But here, let me kind of show this, right? Let's say we want to create a pivot. And this is a basic model. When basic models do stuff really well, it's like the best thing ever, right? Because it's like, it costs pennies. Like it doesn't cost that much, right? Create a pivot table showing, let's see, showing total deal value by stage, by lead source, right? And one thing I need to show you guys too is this button, auto. Every button has an explanation on them if you hover, okay? So if you hover over anything, it teaches you exactly how to use it. Very important that you guys kind of know this, because I know sometimes you're like, okay, what is this for? Or what does this do, right? You could just hover and it will tell you exactly what it does, right? Let's see what pivot table this kind of comes up with, right? But I'm also going to teach you guys troubleshooting tips, because I know, you know, like many times you guys would try something, it wouldn't work or anything of the sorts. And so I want to make it very easy for you guys to quickly see what's going on. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But essentially, let's see. I don't know why it says processing data. That means it's taking a lot longer than it should. Once again, basic model. I don't know what's happening with the basic model, but, you know, I'm going to figure out why the basic model is having this issue. It's not a SheetXAI, it's the model that's being used, right? So this one timed out. But let me literally try this again, but this time let me switch to auto standard. Where's the retry button? Okay, because this failed, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna retry right here. I'm gonna copy this, clear chat. I'm gonna post this, okay? And this should work. I'm gonna figure out which model on the, so when we choose like auto basic or auto standard or whatever, I tell OpenRouter, if you use OpenRouter, I give it like 10 models, for example, and I tell it, hey, based on what you know about the models, which one of them can handle this better? And OpenRouter makes a best guess and uses that. Most of the time, the best guess works, right? Boom. As you can see, the pivot table is done, right? So most of the time, the best guess works, but, you know, as we can see, sometimes it doesn't. But then that's exactly why we have the auto basic and all those things, because when it comes back to me, I could be like, okay, what model is having an issue, right? And then fix it. Okay, so this is a good one, right? Lead source, sum of deal value, blah, blah, blah. So this is great. This is a pivot table. So that answers the question of, you know, can you do pivot tables? Yes. And also to the second question, which is, you know, how do I get started? Now to the next question, let me just see if there's questions in the chat that I'm not looking at. Okay, for sure. See you, Jan. No problem at all. Let me just close this. And all of this stuff is gonna, once again, it's gonna get posted, so you guys will be able to see all of this, right? But I kind of want to show this. So what are the first thing I should do after installing SheetXAI? First thing you should do 1000% is to immediately to ask it to set up your settings, right? So first thing you want to do after you install SheetXAI is it's going to ask you for, if it's in Excel, it won't ask you for much. All you're gonna need to do is set up your settings. If it's in Sheets, all you have to do is come here, press. It's gonna ask you to set up your settings, but if you want to get fine grained, you just click settings. This is gonna pop up, and you could set settings for every tab. And if you're like, what is this tab for? It explains it right here, and explain more information right here, right? Used for generating content, blah, blah, blah. Chatbot, right? URL model, this is for research and web content tasks, right? So I could research every row, something about every single row, right? But yeah, I'm probably gonna change the term URL model. I'm probably gonna change it to web search because I feel like it's more explanatory. But that's the first thing you should do. Let's move on to the next question. Maybe I can even open this in split view so that we kind of have, okay, there we go. Okay, so next, oh shoot, let me just kind of come back here so that we can see everything. Okay, how do I set up SheetXAI when I have multiple Google accounts in the same browser? That is my Achilles heel. Like, that has been the worst thing that Google has not allowed us to do. So let me give you some history. Google has a bug where if you have multiple accounts signed into the same kind of like Chrome profile, right? So in this case, same workspace, same profile, whatever, right? Google doesn't want you to use them all. Google doesn't give the permissions to the right one, right? So what happens is when you try to open SheetXAI, now it opens because we've made some changes to SheetXAI, but some things might not work as expected. And to kind of give you an example, let's say your email is, I'm going to write it here so that, let's say your email is a@b.c, okay? And you have another email that's b@b.c, okay? Let me just kind of make this huge, 200%. Okay, you have these two emails, right? When you open SheetXAI, Google might be like, hey, this guy opened SheetXAI. But when you try to ask SheetXAI a question, it would be like this guy is asking a question, right? And God forbid you have c@b.c. Then it's going to be like, this guy is asking for psi. And this guy, so it's going to keep playing this type of ping pong thing. And the issue with this is you never actually get the results that you want because our AI doesn't know which sheet it's working with and all these things, right? So here's how to deal with it. Option number one, when you click this, right, you're going to know which one is the main account. So in this case, I signed out of everything. But one of these is always your main account, right? You can see it if you go to mail. Actually, if you click right here, you should be able to see, okay, it doesn't show it here. But you should know what's your main account because if you go to mail.google.com, without any slash, without anything, the first account that pops up is typically your default account, right? Even Google kind of tells you what's your main account when you click on this thing, right? So it's very important. The first easiest way to go about it is put SheetXAI on the main account, right? So although you probably want to use SheetXAI on b@b.c, probably put it on a@b.c, and then when you need stuff from this account, just share it to A. That's the easiest way to go about this, where you never have issues and everything works out smoothly, right? Let me just kind of take a look to make sure. Okay, Karmeshvar, you asked a question. Really nice question. So a user just asked a question. They said, it is probably already addressed, but what is the difference between Auto Basic and Auto Max in terms of accuracy? So Auto Max would more than likely be more accurate 99.9% of the time, right? But it costs more. So here's what I mean. Think of it as like a third grade student. No, actually, let's say sixth grade student versus a senior in college. Christophe, welcome. But essentially, think of Auto Max as a senior in college, and then, or like a professor, and think of Auto Basic as just a sixth grade person, right? Although the professor will more than likely get everything correct, you don't want to, like, if you want to ask somebody to just count from 1 to 10, you don't want to go to the professor to ask him to count from 1 to 10 because the kid can do it too, right? So that's why I typically say use Auto Basic for most things because it's cheaper and it's a smaller model, right? When you have issues, and only when you have issues, move on to the higher models, like Automax, or if you're dealing with something like a dashboard, you want to build a dashboard, you want to build a financial model. Those things you typically don't want to use this. You don't want a sixth grade kid building a financial model for you. You want a college professor, right? So in those cases, use the higher model. But for 90% of things, use the smaller model. It's really, really highly recommended. Um, because of the fact that, once again, the smaller model is probably going to be smarter. I mean, it's probably going to be smart enough to do most things, right? In this case, we had some issues with the small model, but I can guarantee you with most things, it's super smart, right? I also added like a standard, which is like somewhere in the middle, right? So you could switch around, right? If your SheetXAI doesn't look like this right now, don't worry, it will in like 30 minutes to an hour because, I'm going to drop this update. Just cleaning up some things on it before I drop it. But yeah, anyways, so for somebody who said, how do I set up SheetXAI when I have multiple Google accounts? The main thing is either keep the account you want as the main account or just have your accounts in different Chrome profiles, which is what I would highly also recommend. Because here's the thing, it's like, even without SheetXAI, organization wise, it will probably serve you a lot better. I mean, I don't want to like assume what your job is or what you do or kind of what your life looks like and all those things. But it's like, if your goal is to kind of separate work stuff and personal stuff and stuff for this company and that company and all those things, I highly recommend you kind of do this where you like, you kind of keep each of those in its own Chrome profile. That way, you don't mix work stuff with personal stuff and all those things. And then that way, the account you want is in its own Chrome profile, right? But what Google really looks for is what is the main account. If the main account is using SheetXAI, it doesn't really care. It just can't be the, like the child accounts, like the secondary ones. And the last one, what changed in the recent update and how SheetXAI different now? Pretty much, obviously, the interface is different, right? The ability to have MCPs, which I showed earlier. Okay, this kind of timed out, so I'm going to show this again, right? But let me also show it right here because I do have a page on it. So the main thing is MCP. We got sub agents now, which is basically just like SAI agents. If you use SAI, you probably don't need it, but the AI is so much better at using SAI. We have backups, which is also huge because you can't really lose things anymore. Like our system backs stuff up before it performs the operation. But if you clear chat, the backup is gone, just so you know, right? If you restore here, the backup is not gone. Okay. Then we have streaming. Then we have MCP. Let me see first of all if I'm getting any questions. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let me just move on to the next page because I also don't wanna waste any more time. Best use cases for SheetXAI's AI features. Number one use case, anything spreadsheet related, right? You want to build a pivot table. You want to do VLOOKUP. You want to build graphs. You want to build a financial model. And in case you haven't seen earlier, I kind of showed a financial model, which I will show again. But here, the AI, disregard this. I wrote that for a test. But the AI created a five sheet financial model that had pro formas, pro formas, different things, and it gave us research sources, like where it got, it's where it did its research from and all those things, right? So this has been amazing, right? So this is an example of like a financial model that I could make, right? And, once again, earlier in the video, I also showed where it kind of made a smaller version on the phone with us. Let's see if this is it. Okay, I'm gonna reduce this back to 100, but it made like a very tiny version. Oh no, this is not it right here. Let's see, lead source analysis. No. Okay, and here I was just pretty much saying like, I want to create a hotel in LA, and so it kind of created like a 5-year revenue forecast, right? And it did some research before doing it. You could probably scroll back. I'm gonna put a timestamp on it, but essentially, it did some research. So you see, all of these are formulas where it's kind of writing down like what the assumption is and kind of writing things based on the assumption. So this is really good if you just want to kind of figure out, okay, like how much money can I make if I kind of switch to this industry or try this thing or blah blah blah, whatever it is. Um, Real world workflows and automations people are using. So I showed this, which is financial models. Um, what else can I show? I showed earlier somebody, of me creating like YouTube thumbnails, YouTube scripts, right? I already deleted that, but there's gonna be a timestamp. So, just look through the timestamps and you'll be able to kind of see it. And yeah, it's like cold emails you could do with Sheets AI. Cold emails you could do with Sheets AI for thousands of people, right? Now that we have MCPs, right, you could, for example, connect to your Notion MCP, bring all your pages here, perform some sort of operation on them, send them all back, right? It's kind of this system where the AI is like any AI that you use, but it's trained on how to do things with spreadsheets a lot more, right? So if you find a Google Sheets MCP, or I mean not Google Sheets MCP, a Gmail MCP, you could get the AI to send emails for you, right? That is very possible. And like I showed earlier too, we have an AppScripts agent, and with the AppScripts mode, you can actually, you know, you can actually create automations, apps. You could create apps with it, right? And all types of things like that, right? You just gotta play with it, and you'll be able to kind of see. Let's see. Okay, so you asked for restoring. Somebody asked if for restoring, and Dana, I saw your question too. But for restoring, you said you use Google History. So Google History is, if you ask me, I think it's the best way. But the reason why Google History, a lot of people have kind of protested against Google History, and especially in Excel, there's no Google History, right? Is because of the fact that with Google History, I'm gonna even show it to you guys right here. Google shows things like this, right? So you have to remember at what minute whatever it is that you want happened, right? Which is good because Google remembers everything. But let's say you just, you asked it something and you just kind of need to go back. This serves as a faster way to go about it. And then you could always go to Google History and find the actual just like recent history, right? And Excel has something similar to Google History. It's called autosave. And the models will tell you to use autosave. Like they'll frequently be like, hey, make sure you autosave, make sure you autosave. But in case you don't, we also keep a backup, right? And that's kind of the goal here is like, I want to make sure that people aren't scared to use Sheets AI because it's like nothing you do is permanent. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's see. Yeah, AppScripts agent is super cool, man. Like, because you could do everything with it. And then Dana, so I could share the prompt, but give me a bit. I'm gonna make one for this because the prompt I used for that one was a customer who gave it to me. And, the prompt he gave had like some of, not his personal data, but like his assumptions. So don't worry, I'm gonna make a video where I kind of explain, I mean, not a video, I'm gonna share a prompt where I kind of teach, I give you a prompt that would pretty much give such a detailed financial model. I promise. Promise I'm gonna do that, right? And by the way, we have like a prompt library too. Currently, it only has prompts for like content generation. I could show it to you guys here. Sheets AI. Okay, not the Sheets AI extension. I brought this up earlier, but we're working on the Sheets AI extension. It should be out, I think, within a week. But first, let me just show this to you guys. We got a prompt. What was the sheetsai.com/prompt. Okay, I'm just gonna go to sheetsai.com and then we'll go from there. And if you go to more, there's a prompt. Oh wow, the prompt library is not showing. Prompt. Prompt. Okay, so it's in freebies, under freebies right here. So if you go right here, there's a prompt library that has, 7 pages of prompts, right? And these are for you to kind of learn. It's for you to use in custom commands or, you know, anything you really want. It helps you kind of create, right? So you could also add your own prompts and everything. But yeah, back to answering the questions that people have been asking me. Can SheetXAI help me create a budget worksheet with nice formatting? Yes, I'm pretty sure. You know, let's try it right now. I'm gonna use the max models because anything formatting wise, you really don't want to use a basic model. Like if you really care about, like, you know, it looks super good, you know, can you create a budget worksheet? Worksheet, work with nice formatting. And so we'll just wait and kind of see what it comes up with. So we're just waiting on the AI to reply. And like I said earlier, when you see still waiting on AI or you see calling AI or anything of the sorts, just know that we're just waiting on the AI to reply. Like, it's not like our system is not the one blocking it. Like, we're just waiting for OpenRouter or whatever your AI model is. We're waiting for them to kind of send us a response. Okay, so we wait. Come on, AI, tell me something. But this is for the max models, right? Okay, so there you go. Okay, so the AI set this up. And then now it's gonna apply the formatting. Boom. Right? So the definition of nice formatting would depend on, like, do you consider this nice or do you not consider this nice? If you consider this nice, then, you know, then you could change this, right? Like C12 or C12. Oh yeah, so here you can kind of like write expenses and different things, and ooh, I think I just deleted something. And so yeah, let's see, do I have a question? Okay, next question. Can SheetXAI help me prepare my annual accounts and financial statements? Yes, although when I hear the term annual accounts, are you saying like where you kind of put all your sheets? I mean, not your sheets, your, like a bank what is it called? Guys, what is it called? A bank statements, right? If yes, it can. Let's test this right now. Right now. Let me just try this right here. I'm gonna try to add a random bank statement, right? So disregard my sheet. I'm just trying to see if I can find a bank statement that's not something that's private, you know. Let me look to my downloads. Just give me one sec. I'm just finding. Let's see. Okay, PDF. Okay, so this is a dummy credit card statement. I don't know if you guys can see. It's actually better if you can't, but if you can, this is a dummy credit card statement. So I'm adding it to the chat, right? And you see, if you notice, we now have little kind of like things that kind of pop up that explain, I don't know, tips or whatever, right? But in this case, I'm gonna change it to auto standard, for example. Okay, and then here I'm gonna say create, you know, add these to my sheet, all of them. Right, and so now we just wait. We give it a second, you know, we let the AI kind of do its thing. Okay. So essentially here, so this one's gonna take a little minute, right? Like a minute or two, maybe three, purely because the AI literally has to write down every single thing that's in that document, and there are 9 pages, right? So here we'll just kind of wait and chill. In the meantime, I can answer other questions. So how can I use SheetXAI for SEO, AEO, and P&L statements? Okay, so for SEO, I have videos. We actually have a playlist called SheetXAI SEO, using SheetXAI for SEO, right? And it's a full playlist that explains everything. Okay, let's see what gets executed as code. Boom. Okay, so I don't know if that even took a minute, but you see here there was 181 transactions, and it wrote it all, right? So this is good for if you have data from sheets that you're trying to kind of like get to the sheet, right? I don't know if anybody asked. Yeah, bank statements. So in this case, it kind of wrote it all. You know, you could always tell it kind of what you want, right? Like, okay, you know, I didn't want it like this. I wanted it to be like in a different way or anything of the sorts. And I want to show you guys some, you know, a few cool tips. The first one being you can select sets of data, and you could click this and click add selection, right? And so if you click add selection, it's going to add this data to whatever message you tell the AI. So this is very good. I don't recommend you use it when you first open a sheet because we already send a certain amount of data to the AI, right? I recommend you use it when the AI runs into errors, or if there's like just a specific thing that you want to show the AI, right? Like let's say, you know, you want anything that has the word, I don't know, you want this section specifically to be marked a certain way. If you highlight it, we tell the AI that you're highlighting those cells, right? But let's say it needs, like it has to see the value of those cells. Then, you know, you could click this and then add selection. The AI also knows when to kind of like look at the sheet itself. So, you know, this one's a little bit more like, you know, depends on how you use it type of thing. Can I use SheetXAI for real estate workflows? I know one of the biggest real estate use cases, and we do have like a page on our website where we show real estate use cases. So I'm just gonna go straight there. Where is real estate? I know we have real estate somewhere. Okay, so you could use it for like market analysis, right? You could make a research 500 properties in 5 minutes, right? Honestly, less, right? If you have like properties, I can't really put addresses here because YouTube is gonna think these are real people's addresses, and it's gonna try to ban me. But essentially, you know, if you have addresses here, you can ask the AI to research each of them, and it's gonna run sub agents. Psi agents, sub agents, same thing. If you heard those two terms, they're interchangeable. Psi, Psi and sub agents, not just sub, but sub agents. Psi agents are sub agents. Anyways, you know, too much repetition. But the AI is gonna know when to use which one or not. And if you ask it, you know, if you had a whole bunch of people's names and then you were like research each of these, it's gonna pretty much set some agents that will research every single one. So that's huge, right? I'm just double checking. I don't have any comments or questions, but essentially, I would say that's like one of the biggest ones, right? You could research people, research whatever you want, really. Let's see, real estate automation. The next thing, virtual staging. So as I showed earlier, you could upload images. You could upload the images, and you can get the AI to kind of stage those images, right? With Nano Banana Pro, right? I don't have any really, really good images of, you know, like a unstaged house. But actually, let's actually test it with unstaged house image. Let's see if Google has any images that kind of match that. Okay, so this doesn't really have anything good. Let's say empty living room. Okay, so we have this living room right here. Okay, so we're gonna try this. This is stock image. So this is only being used for the purposes described below. I'm just gonna save image. because this I can show you guys, right? And then if you have SheetXAI open, like we do right here, right? I'm gonna open a new sheet just to kind of show this to you guys, and you're gonna be like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But here you will see, if we take SheetXAI and we use the bulk image and PDF uploader, we're gonna upload the image that we just grabbed right now, right? So I'm gonna grab it from here, and I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, that didn't do the upload. I'm gonna do it directly. Where did the image go? Could have sworn I just downloaded this. Okay, one sec, let me re-download it. But to kind of show you, let's see right here. Let's see, save image as iStock photo. I'm just gonna screenshot it because I don't know. I don't trust the save image as anymore. Let me just take a picture of this, for example. Okay, picture taken. Then I could come out here, okay, and then I could choose file. And this one I trust. Like screenshots, I definitely trust. Okay. And now I added this image right here, right? So it's just one file. I'm gonna click upload file. It's gonna upload and it's gonna give me the URLs, right? So I could click copy all URLs, right? And then all URLs are copied. So I'm gonna put unstaged. Okay. And then here I'm gonna put staged version. And I'm gonna give like a simple prompt like Sci. Image gen, okay. Make add some modern furniture and styling to this living room, but do not I don't know, but do not change it. Hashtag A. Oof. Okay. So here we're gonna try to kind of do a stage version, right? In this case right here, we're staging it for about 15 cents with Nano Banana Pro. In your case, I don't know, you could do it with, if you think of like any other real estate person, you know, they pay a nice amount to get like a staged version of a picture. So we're gonna kind of see the before and after to really see how good it staged it, right? Yeah, yeah. If I saved as WebP, it would have worked. Okay, so this is staged. Let's see if it looks like the image. Yes. Okay. Although I believe like the AI kind of pushed it back a little bit, but you know this is pretty much the same image, right? Let's look at the original image to see. Actually, there's a way in Google Sheets that we could kind of look at both. So let's say pre and post. Okay, so here we're gonna just do equal image. Google has like a way of, okay, right here. And so we could do this and then equal image, okay. And I could have asked the AI to do it. Sometimes I just don't be wanting to spend the time. But let me just kind of expand. How do I? Okay, so same thing right here. So you can kind of see that it is about the same, right? Like maybe we probably just need to expand it a little bit. Okay, expand it a little bit more. But what's you guys' thoughts on that, right? So here it kind of created the same image. You know, it staged the image for you, right? What are you guys' thoughts? Christophe, what do you think? Karmeshvar, I don't know if you're still here, but what do you think of that? Right? It has both pictures. So that's kind of just to show that it can, I'm going to close this just so we kind of see like a full screen version. But essentially just to show that it does, for real estate people, it can be used for stuff like this, right? Like for virtual staging, which normally real estate people, I believe they pay $1 or more for every virtual staging. Sometimes $10 per room. But here you could do it for what, 15 cents if you use, like a file AI key. On to the next thing. Where is the... I just want to see what else I had on here. Same thing for marketing, right? I showed it earlier in the video, but essentially you could generate descriptions, social content, materials from listing details, photo enhancements. Like I said, the same thing I just did right now can be used to do all of these things, right? You can even use it to research your customers, like a very deep research on every one of your customers. And you could send these leads, these people, you could send them to Instantly. I don't know if you use Instantly. Christophe, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you can stick to the format and the ratio to make it kind of, it's nano banana. So it's like any way you would talk to the AI, it's our system is just bringing it in a way where you could do things faster, better, and potentially in bulk, right? In bulk. That's like the biggest thing here. And Karmeshvar, no problem at all. Mess with your Baker's calculation spreadsheet. When I push out this update, I think it will be so... Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing that SheetXAI already found an error in your spreadsheet and corrected it. But let me tell you this. When I put this update out, you should notice a huge improvement, right? Because of the fact that this one it's just smoother. Let's put it that way. Like, it's smoother. It opens... Oh, Christophe, remember earlier when we created... when you tested SheetXAI, it opened super slow, right? So check this out. So now when I click this is my version of opening it, but it's the same thing. It should open in no time, right? So, we made a lot of improvements on that to make it like much faster, much simpler. And, we're working on more. We're working on way more improvements. But let's see. How can freelancers monetize their SheetXAI skills? The main thing is I want you to, if you really want to monetize your SheetXAI skills, right? You can create financial models for people, right? Soon, I'm even going to allow you to kind of like give the AI more information. And I'm going to allow the AI to kind of keep a memory of like what you like doing. So you could train the AI really much more closer to what you like doing, right? So that's number one. Number two, another way you can monetize your SheetXAI skills is you could kind of look at different industries, right? Like, okay, real estate. What do they pay for already, right? Kind of like I showed you here, right? If they pay for staging, you can find out where they buy these staging things from, and you could sell stagings, right? They pay you, if they normally pay $1, make them pay you 50 cents, or $1 too if they're willing to pay it. And then if they're paying you $1, you're pretty much making double profit with SheetXAI, right? And that's kind of the case with everything, right? Like, it's like financial models, like I brought up earlier. I've seen people sell financial models for 40K. I've seen people sell financial models for 10K, right? If SheetXAI can build a financial model for you, it doesn't even matter how many tries, because there's no way it's going to charge you 10K to build a financial model, right? It doesn't matter how many tries, you could potentially make a lot of money with that, right? I know on Upwork and on different platforms, there used to be people who would charge, like you could pay a VA that's going to write like first liners for you. Once again, SheetXAI can write 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 first liners, and you could once again sell it to somebody else, right? So it's kind of just to say like, you could speed up. Apart from the time saving abilities, you could make money with this, but you just got to get a little more creative. Like, you got to kind of look at, okay, what are people paying for here? Can we use AI to do that? If yes, SheetXAI could do it faster and in bulk, right? That's kind of the best way to kind of put it. And I'm going to make just for the future, I'm going to make a playlist called Making Money with SheetXAI, where I kind of go through the different things people pay for and how you could sell, use SheetXAI to kind of sell a service faster, easier, all those things. Right. So now the next thing, let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah, Christophe, you see? So I have this customer, Christophe, that's on the phone with us right now, and he was an amazing reason, motivation, let's put it that way, for why SheetXAI is as fast as it is now, right? Because at first when we made it, At least when we launched on AppSumo and LTD, it was it was very slow, right? And so when Christophe kind of brought it up, I was like, I know exactly what to fix. I just didn't know how to. And luckily, by God's grace, I was able to figure out, with time, I was able to figure out different things to make it run so much faster. And this update, I think, would be like, it's the real alpha version, like the real SheetXAI 2.0 version, I feel, right? And Lester, yeah, welcome. You know, ask me any questions, by the way, Lester, while I'm still here, because I'm gonna go through these questions, and then after these questions, I'm gonna end it so I could push out the update and then make the timestamp video. So if you have any questions right now, now's the time. But yeah, templates and building apps. So somebody said, how do I use SheetXAI to create template sheets from scratch, right? So the thing with template sheets, if you go on YouTube, for example, and you look up creating, selling templates or buying templates, you're gonna notice the sheets that they use, or like the templates that they create, a lot of times they have images and all types of things like that, right? For you to create the same thing, the AI currently is not gonna generate the image for you. I mean, you could tell it to use subagents to generate the image. Oh, I just got a really good idea. But typically you wouldn't, right? Like typically, because in those examples, what's happening is there is actual icons being generated and people put them in specific places, right? We're working on a template version. So you see how here there's agent version, there's a learn version where where SheetXAI teaches you how to use Excel and teaches you how to use these things so you become a pro. There's formula version where you're pretty much telling SheetXAI everything you do, use a formula. I don't want to see any magic type of thing. Just use a formula to do it. And then there's AppScripts version, right? All of these, if you want to learn what all of these do, it's written right here. There's a learn more button. Anyways, the point I was trying to make here is you could use that to get SheetXAI to what's the word I'm looking for? So we have agent, learn, formula. We're gonna add a template version very, very soon, where we will have a version of SheetXAI trained to only create templates, right? Right now it's tougher because of the fact that, once again, like the way we've trained SheetXAI, you could ask SheetXAI to create a template, right? I'm saying all of this, but it's not that SheetXAI can't create a template, but it's just like any other AI. Like if you go on Cursor and you ask it, create a website, if you don't give it the details you want, or like what you consider a good website, like always, it's gonna create like the basic version of a website. And then you kind of have to go back and forth and back and forth, right? So when we create template mode, we would have given it ideas. But until then, I recommend, if you ask it to create a template, just give it more ideas. Like, I want a budget template. It should be blue, it should have this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then the AI is gonna take care of it for you, right? Let's see if I have a question. Oh no, Christophe, no problem at all. I think that review you left was like biggest eye opener, I think. And it was very honest. So literally no hard feelings at all, nothing. Um, but number two, can I build a full app like a fitness tracker with a live dashboard using just prompts? Here's the crazy thing: is if you use AppScript mode, if I'm being very real with you guys, you could build a full app. It's just the only issue with AppScripts mode is that it's here, right? So you will have to kind of keep opening AppScripts and then pasting, right? The SheetXAI Chrome extension, which this is the beta version of it, but when it comes out, it will normally have an AppScripts side, which is good because then you'll be able to open the SheetXAI. You'll be able to open this and pretty much have SheetXAI and your app scripts, which would allow you to kind of create whatever it is you want to create, almost like a coding assistant, really, right? Because app scripts allows you to do 90% of the things most coding assistants allow you to do. Is just you have to learn app scripts, but with SheetXAI, it could do it for you. So to your question, can you build a full app like a fitness tracker with a live dashboard? You can, right? Like, I don't know if, hopefully this thing hasn't timed out yet, but create a full fitness tracker with a live dashboard. I'm gonna use Auto Max for this just because Anything that's like more serious, I like using Automax. Create a full fitness tracker with a live dashboard. Uh, you know, what else do we want to see? I don't know. Okay. And here we're just gonna kind of leave it. Hopefully it didn't time out. Okay, no timeouts. But essentially we could wait on the AI. It's gonna create the full fitness tracker. There's another question here where you say, how do I create dashboards with SheetXAI? Same thing. You kind of just ask it, right? You just ask it, hey, create a dashboard. But once again, be specific. I really, really recommend that, right? Please be specific, you know, really be specific. Like, hey, I want to create a dashboard, right? So here it created like the workout type and all those things. I assume it's made so that you, oh, okay, so you add the date and then you kind of put the workout type, duration, all those things, right? But essentially it's creating it for you, right? And let's see. So it's kind of the same thing. You tell the AI what you want, and the AI should be able to kind of create like whatever the right thing is. And so here it's kind of showing the calories burned over time. Let's see if I can get like a 75%. Oh, okay. I kind of went a little too, let's see, live fitness dashboard. Oh, okay. I was a little bit confused, guys. But let's see. Right, so it's kind of showing you your total duration by workout type. I'm gonna make it 50%. I'm only doing this because I have this like both of these things open, but let me just hide this so you guys can see this a lot better. Right, so it's grabbing these from the other workbook that we made earlier. This one right here, the workout log. Where's the workout log? Okay, and where's the dashboard log? Oh, right here. Wait. Where's the, oh, fitness dashboard right here. So obviously this sheet is not the perfect representation, but essentially it's showing you calories burned over time, right? And these all calculate based on the data, right? So for example, if you look at, you know, some of these numbers, if you go to the workout log and you change some data, like let's say for example, I did more HIIT. When you come back here, it should look a tiny bit different. Like HIIT is 18.2% now. Now let me try changing it to running. From running, we're gonna go back to another HIIT. Now it's 25%. So as you can see, this is a live fitness dashboard. But would this be what you would describe as a live fitness dashboard? I don't know, right? So once again, specificity is very important, right? It could create what you want. It's the same AI models that you use in other apps. So it could create anything you want. You just gotta kind of tell it like, hey, do this and blah, 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 you know? Okay, look at that. So Karmeshvar pretty much told me that SheetXAI created a really nice dashboard. Let's see, does this thing allow me to kind of like pin messages? I don't know if that's like a thing. Oh, so there you go, right? It's like, SheetXAI created a really nice dashboard for a sheet with online orders so the user could see orders. The user could see orders in a specific way. That worked like a charm, right? So that's pretty much the case, right? It's like you tell it what you want. The better you can explain what you want, the better it's gonna do it, right? And this is data. So I know I've had people, you know, kind of say, I just don't really want to have to explain what I want. But you know, if you want something good, you kind of gotta say what you want, right? And here's something right here. There's the auto button right here. Now, what does that mean? So right now, as you can see, every time I've asked SheetXAI to do something, it just did it, right? But let's try it this way. We're gonna clear this chat, and then I'm gonna turn off auto. So when you turn off auto, this is the auto confirm button, right? If you have it on, it's pretty much telling SheetXAI, hey, if you need, you know, like whenever I ask for anything, just do it. Don't ask me any questions, just do it, right? If you turn it off, SheetXAI by default is always gonna ask you questions, and it's always gonna tell you what it wants to do, right? Like, for example, I'm gonna go even lower to like auto standard. Something is up with my auto basic in this version, so I'm only using auto standard for now. But here, if I say, delete this sheet. Normally, it's gonna reply and be like, hey, are you sure you want me to delete fitness dashboard? Okay, so this one just did it directly. But but normally it will reply, are you sure you want me to do this? And then I'll be like, yes, and that's when it would do it, right? In this case, it kind of just went straight for it. I will have to look at the prompt again to see why it didn't ask. But the chances that it kind of asks for those type of confirmations is so much higher on auto. I mean, without auto than it is. If you have auto on, it would only ask if something is really wrong. Like if it really can't figure something out, that's when it would ask, right? But let's see. Can I use Claude's instructions to create new sheets and column formulas? Yes. Well, what do you mean by Claude's instructions? So when you say Claude's instructions, are you saying you ask SheetXAI for instructions, or oh, look at that. So Christophe, I'm a little bit distracted, just a tiny bit, but Christophe brought up how SheetXAI is pretty much like a best friend with share tables, because SheetXAI can create like a blog or a listing or anything you want, and you could create the content, and then share table would display it, which is perfect, right? It's like the perfect kind of match, right? I'm gonna pin that comment too because I love that. Boom. I'm learning how to use this YouTube webinar thing. I actually enjoyed this. But essentially, that's the case. Can you use Claude's instruction to create new sheets and column formulas? I don't know what you mean by Claude's instruction. Are you saying you would go to Claude and ask it for a prompt? If yes, if Claude knows you already, for sure, you could ask it. I think it's probably better to turn off auto and be like, I want to do something, but I don't know. But don't immediately do it. Just discuss with me first, please. Or something, I don't know, like, and ask me questions. I want to create a dashboard, right? So if you say, now check this out, we tell it, dashboards tend to need a more powerful model. So we have these little tips that kind of tell you exactly, what we, and now the AI is given dashboards, right? Like which data should we use? Where are the big numbers? Blah, 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 right? So all these things are for you to really understand, it's up to you. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. It's like, you want to get a better prompt, you could ask the AI to kind of go with you and create a better prompt, right? You don't have to go to Claude or to Gemini or whatever to create the prompt. But if you want to, you could, right? So either way works completely, Let's see, side formulas and custom comments. How do side formulas work, and when should I use static versus non-static? Here's the beauty. You actually might not need to learn side formulas anymore, as I've shown before. And I'm once again gonna, the timestamps is gonna show where I'm showing side formulas. But essentially, normally this is what side formulas look like, right? I'm gonna show it right here. Let's see, I need something where there's names. Okay, right here I have side formulas, right? So I'm just gonna copy this prompt, cold emails. So this is how you would normally do side formulas manually, right? You would write, maybe you kind of named this column cold emails, okay? Then you would come here. Let me just kind of expand this so that there's just more space for us to play with. Then you would come here and you would type hashtag Sai, which is, hey Sai, I need your attention here, right? And you would say array. Now here's the thing, you don't have to type array. Array is only for whatever you type here, you want it to run on all rows. It saves you from having to kind of write it once and then copy and paste and paste and paste and paste. With this, you're kind of telling it do this everywhere. And here, let me say, write a short message about hashtag A. This is some info about them. Boom, hashtag C. So here, let me explain what happened. I pretty much said array, which is do this on all rows. Okay, so you kind of take, you could forget what array means here. The two things you need to remember is that we reference columns with hashtags. So we're saying write a short message about A in this row. So in this case, A in this row is Patricia. This is some info about them. Project lead focused on blah, 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 right? So that's pretty much what we're doing. So if I press enter and you give it a few seconds, minutes, whatever, you should notice it running, and then it's gonna run on all the rows. Boom, right? And it kind of just ran exactly what you said. Now here's the thing, normally all of these would have been live formulas. The reason why we did everything we could to kind of stop it from being live formulas because Google kept rerunning every formula, which means if you have a formula that's supposed to do some sort of like perplexity research, normally I would tell you, hey, click on Sci right here after you're done running your formula, go to settings and click make all formulas static, normally. But with this, what happens is you don't need to do that anymore because our system already makes it just static. Static just means it's text, it's not a formula. Non-static means it's a formula. And in this case, we made it where you don't actually need to remember anything. I mean, you don't actually need to remember to make it static or anything. None of this is gonna rerun, right? Even this one, that's sci array, blah, 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 it's never gonna rerun to like create something new. So you would never lose any more credits to it, which is the goal, is that you don't lose money like unjustly, And to kind of show you how it works, look at this, check this out. So I'm gonna add 4 more rows. And in a few minutes or seconds, as you can see, it ran for all of those too. And that works even with SheetXAI closed. Look, check this out. So if I grab these and I add like 4 more rows, you should notice these also run in a few seconds in 3, 2, there you go, right? And in the message that kind of pops up, you would see it says, if something goes wrong, make sure you click blah, 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 right? So we kind of tell you also like what to do if something goes wrong or any of that, right? Our goal, once again, is to make it super easy. We're working good on that, but we're trying to make it easier. Oh, look at that. So let's see. Wow. Okay, Christophe just gave me a really, really nice use case, which I'm going to also replace pinned. And essentially, he said that if you inject the restaurant menu in SheetXAI and ask AI to generate... Karmeshvar, I'm going to answer that question in one quick second. But essentially, if you inject and then ask AI to generate a tabular view for this menu, right, then you could just link your Google Sheets to share tables. Right, I'm gonna show this to you guys again, like right now, because that was a really good use case that I never even thought of, right? Which, yeah, but actually, I'm gonna be creating it while answering the question that Karmeshvar asked. So essentially, how it's able to edit your sheet when it's closed is we have access to your sheets when you're installing SheetXAI. We ask you for the ability to basically operate when you're not there, right? The only time we operate when you're not there is when you make these type of changes. So we kind of have a trigger. I really hope none of my competitors are watching this whole thing, but we have a trigger that checks, okay, are you editing the sheet? And if you edit the sheet, is it a side command that you're putting? And if yes, then we set that up. Like basically we run it on our servers and we edit your sheet directly. You would also notice like first time you open SheetXAI, it's gonna be like you're gonna see our mascot, and it's gonna be like, hey, you forgot to, one of your permissions didn't work in terms of like the automation permission. Google doesn't like even when you accept it, it doesn't fully give us the power, and so it's gonna be like one of your permissions didn't work. Can we do it again? And then you would be like, yes, for sure. So that's kind of the answer to your question of how do we have access to the sheet, right? But yeah. But let's try the restaurant menu thing, right? Like picture of restaurant menu. Let's test this right here. Okay. We're gonna try this restaurant menu right here. I'm gonna take a screenshot. And oh, this is like fake food. Okay, Let's try let's try one with real food. Okay, these are all like fake. I could just look for a restaurant. Okay, now we're talking. I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? But essentially, you could grab this, right? So I have all these restaurants. I could go to SheetXAI. You know, it's open already. I could attach the picture. I could attach the image I just took, okay? Then I can be like, you see, we kind of have tips saying Gemini Flash is really good with images. In this case, what am I using? Standard? Yeah, standard should be good. And then here, I'm gonna just say, add these to my sheet with headers, you know, food name, price, category, and what's something else? Food name, price, category, and description. Let's put it that way. Right, and so here I just sent it the image of this, and it should be able to kind of bring it out. Yes, Lester. That's kind of what I was displaying, right? Where it's like the array is working even when SheetXAI is closed. I could show it again in a bit, but essentially, yes. Okay, so here I kind of made them. Okay, it didn't add any description. I assume the image did not have any descriptions. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, it's very agentic. Okay, I think there was a timeout because it says due to the connection error. So let's see if it goes through. I think there was a timeout. Here's how I check timeouts, right? Look, so that tells you there's a timeout. I could kind of close it and then check this out. I'm going to ask it to put Sci agents. I'm not even going to say Sci agents, right? But I'm going to say generate a description for each of the food names in A. It has to be a description that makes someone salivate, right? And it should remember to use sub agent request, right? Okay, so you see, in this case, it tried to fetch the full list. I typically don't. Okay. Okay, good. It used sub agents. Perfect. Because typically, I don't like it fetching the full list because of the fact that I just don't like it. Okay, look, so here it generated the descriptions, right? So here I'm gonna wrap it, right? I'm gonna wrap it, and we're gonna see the descriptions, right? So here it's like poached eggs, blah blah blah, right? So you could sell this too, right? You could sell this too, right? You could call restaurants and be like, hey, we could redo all your descriptions, right? Now I would say now in E generate. Oh my God, all my credits from my app is leaving. In E generate images of. Let's do in E generate image prompts for the cover, and in F generate the images based on the image prompt. Do them one after the other. And so you should notice it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be like, right? You should notice it do the, okay. So both of these should probably run at the same time. The only thing is that I don't like is that now, okay, now it's a little bit better. It realizes that this isn't done. Okay, now it's gonna run. Okay, it's running all these images, right? Let's see what kind of comes up. So we'll see. But essentially, yeah, so E is gonna create the image prompt. Let's see what image prompts it even came up with. Jesus Christ, these are long image prompts. But let's see what images kind of come out, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of, and then if this doesn't, here's the thing. I created this app by hand. Okay, with AI. You know, of course I used AI coding when creating it. But I was gonna say, if these don't show up the right way, let's say you test it. Okay, you test it on your end and you're like, oh my God, this thing is not showing up the right way. Please reach out. Please, I'm begging you with all my life. Please reach out. And the main reason why is because you might notice something or you might have run into a problem that my MRR users will run into or like a billion everybody else is running into, you know? And so the goal here is always like, okay, can we kind of get it all to where our system, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of gets better and better and better every day, right? I don't know why this thing is taking longer than it should, right? I'm seeing if it pops out correctly. And okay, so let's say you have this issue. Let's say you're using File AI, right? Because File AI specifically actually has something against, you know, that would help us figure out if something went wrong. If you go to File AI itself, it would tell you if something went wrong, right? And also Nano Banana 2 is here, so I'm probably gonna switch to Nano Banana 2 because everything is very expensive. But if you click here, okay, so one of these had an issue. Oh, the one that says custom comment. You see? So one thing is missing that I didn't know, right? But let's look at some of the images that were created. Okay. And so nothing's ever lost. I just want to start there. It's probably somewhere. Wow, these are some really nice images. Okay. Guys, do you guys see this? Do you guys see? Yeah, SheetXAI actually like it's crazy. And you know, here's the beauty of it is we're giving it more and more tools, right? So SheetXAI can search your sheet. Let's see. I'm looking at some of these. Ocean's Harvest. Right? Let's see what kind of comes next. Some of these are not supposed to be hot. I don't know why the AI kind of got like okay, this one's nice. This one's really nice. Right? So this you could sell to restaurants, right? And now that I had this error, I know exactly how to fix this. But that's what I'm trying to say is like if you notice an error, please reach out because you know this I would fix before I push this thing out. Then you guys are gonna know exactly, okay, this is what went wrong. But let's see, what else do we have here? Diet salad, right? Morning harvest. So it pretty much has everything, right? And you could sell this to people. The pasta on the table is probably the funniest one for me because it's like, you know, AI is just a very funny thing. But you could sell this to people and kind of like Christophe said, you know, all of these stuff can be on your own, you know, not on your own server, on your website, right? You can have it on share, you know, share tables, and you know, boom, you're done, right? And I can even start a new chat where I'm like, you know, what is it called? Let's see. I'm gonna show you. This thing should restart. Okay, boom. And then I could be like, what's the, let's see, what else do we have here? Let's say, what's the price of lasagna? Lasagna. And normally, the AI is gonna search, right? I'm gonna tell you guys what you know what I know I've trained it to do, but normally the AI is gonna do a search, okay, right? So he's gonna search the sheet for lasagna, and then when he finds lasagna, he's gonna read that row, exactly like I described. The price of lasagna is 4.99, right? So essentially, that's kind of the thing I'm like training it to do, like to be able. Yeah, on the table on the floor is the worst. And I mean, what I'm trying to do here is, Yeah, I'm gonna add the new Nano Banana, and because it's cheaper, like it's much cheaper, so it might as well be like our main thing, right? But yeah, let's see side formulas, what we got. Okay, how do side formulas work? How do custom commands work? How can I chain multiple prompts? So all of these I've kind of shown together. I've shown side formulas, I've shown multiple of them kind of getting chained. And even assuming you run through this and then there's an error, like the one I was just dealing with right now. Obviously, you could go to whatever your provider is and see, like File AI is why I recommend File AI, because there's always a registry. But let's say you don't have File AI, our system, so what's happening on the back end, I can tell you right now, is our system is like waiting for the one that errored out because it thinks it's gonna not, basically it's gonna get fixed, right? After about 5 minutes, I think we have a timeout where it's like, okay, no more waiting, just put all the good ones, right? So once that happens, you should notice, right? But yeah, let's see. How can I chain? Can site search the internet? Yes, it can. I mean, I kind of showed it earlier, but I could show it to you again. I'm gonna remove some of these rows because, guys, internet search costs money. And it does, because if you guys know Perplexity, then you would know exactly what I mean. Right, I'm also gonna remove the cover image rows. I'm just gonna now start a new sheet. New chat. Let's see. I just want to make sure that, okay, everything is good. Here I could be like, hey, in F, I'm just gonna tell it, put some sub agents. You can put side agents that will search the internet for the average price of the foods. Right? You don't have to say sub agents. I like putting it just so, it's like if I know sub agents, I might as well just tell it directly, right? In your case, it could be the same thing. It could be different, right? But you're gonna notice in column F right now, it should, yep. So then these guys should search the internet. We'll see what they kind of come up with. Okay, so as you can see right here, it's like $13 to $26, $5, and then we could compare it to what we're charging, right? And if we compare it to what we're charging, now we could add agents in G that tell us what to charge, But these are internet searches, right? It's like Perplexity. It's done through Perplexity, right? $65 for ingredients to make a food, 13, blah, 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 blah. So that's, once again, internet search. And remember, all of these are using whatever you choose here, right? So here, for example, we have, in our URL model, I put it on auto basic. Just so you know, auto basic, it's basically Sonar. Which Sonar is it? Sonar. Perplexity Sonar. Sonar normal, right? Auto max is going to be Sonar Pro search, right? We don't have, none of the autos have deep research. I purposely don't put certain things on auto because it's expensive. So it's like, if it's expensive, I don't really want to put it, because I'd rather, if you want to do it, you do it, but I just don't want to be the one that puts you in an expensive place. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I recommend OpenRouter or Strico. Strico is pretty nice too because it has all of them. But yeah, OpenRouter got it. OpenRouter got it. Yes, the video will be recorded on my channel with timestamps, so I should probably be adding it after I end this thing. This is the longest webinar ever. But yeah, I'm gonna add it. So basically, all these questions are kind of answered, right? Site can search the internet. You can chain multiple prompts together. How do site formulas work? And Lester had asked earlier, well, I believe Lester's answer got answered, but would the array work if it's not open? So let me kind of show that to you too. So I close SheetXAI here, and then I'm gonna ask a site array questions. Remember, I only recommend you do this site array if you know you're kind of familiar or you just kind of want to do it directly, up to you. But here I'm gonna do it like because you know because I'm trying to. The reason why I say this is because my goal is to move everything to the chat so that you as a human never have to do anything. You just speak to the chat. And then when I add voice mode to the chat, it's wraps because you could just talk to it like a normal person, you know? But let me just kind of add this like site array based on this average market price, hashtag F, okay? And this and our price, hashtag, I believe that's B, right? B. Should I charge more, less, or keep my price the same? Okay. And she says closed. But here's the thing is you must have opened SheetXAI at least once. Okay. Very, very important. If you never open SheetXAI, then we have a problem. But if you have, then we're good, right? So it's gonna run, and then here it's telling me to charge more. Okay, so apparently I'm underpricing myself completely, right? But as you can see, SheetXAI is closed, yet it still kind of gave the answer. And we could try by adding, look at this. If I add rice, okay, here, because there's nothing here, it's not gonna run, right? So here I say rice, $7, right? And now it's running, right? So not only did the research run to kind of give us like what the average price is, right? But this one, and then when it returns, when it returns like things like this, you can delete, and then it's gonna rerun. So check this out. Should rerun in a tiny bit. Okay, so it's rerunning. And oh, it's saying that based on like our price is just $7. It doesn't really say what's in it. Anyways, but basically it's saying that here's a comparison and blah, blah, blah. You should charge less. So that's kind of the case. And when you want it to stop, you could press, there's a make static thing somewhere. Here, right here somewhere. There's a make static. Where is it? You can make things static. I haven't really used it in a sec, but you can make our formula static. That should normally turn it into like a cell. If it doesn't, we'll just do it another way. Okay, it's taking too long. So I could just ask the chat, can you make all cells static so none have formulas? And then the chat is gonna do it, right? The chat doesn't have buttons and all types of things. It's just the chat. So you should notice this changing right here, right now. Okay, so everything is changed. Let me just kind of finish. Let's see. What other questions did I have to answer? Can SheetXAI run automatically without me having to open a Google Sheet every time? Obviously, size stuff you can, like in terms of any content generation stuff, all that stuff, yes. But for stuff like, I don't know, delete everything in this sheet, all that stuff, you can't do that yet, but you will very soon. At least you'll be able to kind of like do stuff on the go, like on your phone and different things. And at some point, we're going to have automation so that you could kind of make it run by itself completely. The reason why we don't have those things now is because we need a certain level of like, one, usage, but also a certain level of like certainty. Like, okay, people understand like, you know, whenever I ask it this way, it returns this result. Because the worst thing that you could do with any automation is that the AI creates something and you aren't watching it. So every day it's running and it's kind of making the thing worse. I don't know if that makes any sense. Number two, how do I schedule? But you could set up automations by switching to app script mode. And that one is going to set up like a formula or whatever it is that you want that's going to be able to do whatever you want. right? Like every day. You could have it clear sheet 1 every day, and it's gonna do it. It's gonna create the perfect app script for it, right? Number 2, how do I schedule SheetXAI to run on a recurring basis, like every 24 hours? Same thing. App scripts is probably the best way. Yeah, that's the best way. But then it depends on what you want SheetXAI to do on a recurring basis, right? Number 3, what are the best strategies for saving credits? Best strategy, use Auto Basic, and gradually go up depending on like how hard the task is, right? Also, you can always undo. I mean, undo won't save you credits, but if if it does something bad, you can thumbs it down, tell us, and then our system is gonna take care of it. Like, we're gonna look at what happened, and if you're right that the AI is at fault, we'll take care of it. How do I choose the right AI model? Choose any of the auto ones, auto standard, auto basic, and we will take care of choosing the right model for you. Images and content generation. How do I work with images and SheetXAI? What image links work and what doesn't, right? Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm looking at some of the questions. Okay, so Lester's question, for example, if the document is closed, how can you use SheetXAI? Well, how can you kind of run the array stuff? So my question is, if the document is closed, how, what is it running an array of? Or are you saying like, okay, for example, if you go on Nathan and, you make Nathan write to a certain row, can you make SheetXAI kind of complete the row? The answer to that is like half and half. Half and half because of the fact that right, we need you to kind of open the sheet, whether it's on your phone or it's somewhere else, but we need you to open the sheet. However, here's what I would say. If you have that question, in a few weeks, we're gonna have like an API that you can connect to Nathan. And so what's gonna happen is when you drop it, you would just kind of call our API to pretty much say, okay, now check the sheet, right? So it would be one extra step to your Nathan or anything you use. To the second question, my goodness, is like having a magic wand, and the possibilities are only dependent on our imagination. Yes, that's what I've been trying to kind of like push out. I know it's hard sometimes to kind of show that to people, but essentially that's the case, right? And to Christophe's question, didn't notice it reruns after we delete. Yes, it reruns. Our sheet it's always watching certain columns, right? Would it be possible to make static a single group? Yeah, to make static a single group, I recommend you just ask the AI, right? You just say, make column G static. That's it, right? So it's kind of the same thing. And static just means turn it to text so that there's no formula. So you could say static, you could say just turn column G to text, up to you how you kind of want to put it. But essentially, yes, you could do that. And so, yeah, let me answer some of these questions that are up here before people get pissed. How do I work with images in SheetXAI? Look at the timestamp. There's videos. I mean, there's many places where I kind of show images, what image links works and what doesn't. So here's the thing. Image links have to end in image, what's the word? There's a word for image extensions. That's what they're called. So look here in the chat and you would see what I mean. Image extensions are .png, .gpg, .jpeg, right? All of these are image links. Like if the image link ends in those, it's more than likely a good image link. If it doesn't end in those, we have a problem, right? So I want you to, look at that and consider that. Let's see. Is image to image generation possible? Yes. I'm gonna look at the timestamps and you'll probably be able to find where I showed this. I showed it a few different times. Number 3, can SheetXAI generate bulk articles with AI pictures, diagrams, and infographics? Yes, but this one is gonna be a little bit more complicated, and here's why. So here's how I would play it out. You're gonna have a column where you generate the content, okay? Then you're gonna have a column where you generate here's one way you could do it. You could have one AI, you could be like, hey, create some sub-agents for me, right? First sub-agent is gonna generate a full blog, but in the blog, it's gonna have different parts where it puts image prompts, right, in the blog. Then you create the second AI that extracts the first image prompt, third guy extracts the second image prompt, blah, blah, blah. So each of them kind of have their own image prompts. And then you now kind of chain that to an image generator in SheetXAI that's going to pretty much look at each prompt and generate the image, and it's going to create the links. Then the last step will just be, hey, rewrite this blog, but instead of image prompts, use these links that match the image prompt. It's kind of like weird, but you will kind of be able to get it in that way. You know what I mean? Number 3, can SheetXAI generate? Oh, we already kind of. And number 4, how is SheetXAI different from using Claude or ChatGPT directly? Very valid question. Well, number 1, SheetXAI is directly inside Sheets or Excel or anything you want, right? So that's already out the way. But number 2, if you go to Claude or you go to ChatGPT, you give it 1,000 rows of things and then you say build a financial model, or you give it 10,000 rows of things and say build a financial model, I can guarantee there would be some issues, right? That's number 1. Number 2, you give it the same thing that I just said, but this time you give it, I don't know, restaurant names. And then you tell it, okay, for every single one of these restaurants, I need a full research, like how long they've been in business, blah, 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 blah. Then, on another column, I want to know, the content, anything content generation based, I can guarantee you ChatGPT or Claude would not be able to do that. Why? Because unlike SheetXAI, we do stuff row by row. When approached with stuff like this, it does stuff like the full thing at once, right? So then that's the difference, right? SheetXAI does stuff row by row. The other guys try to do the full thing at once. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And here's the biggest thing. You go in Claude or you go to ChatGPT, you have to describe your sheet. You have to. Like, it doesn't know your sheet. Like here, when I said, can you make all cells static so none have formulas? I didn't have to tell it how to make things static. I didn't have to tell it column A has this, column B has this, blah, blah, blah. It just knows. And it knows because, of course, like we've set it up in the background to know what it needs to know. But it's just to kind of say we've saved that time. So is that time worth however much you paid for SheetXAI? That's up to you to kind of decide, right? But that's the main thing. And even with MCPs and all these things, like we've trained only on how can this be useful in spreadsheets. So it's like for the spreadsheet AI, SheetXAI is probably the one you want, right? And Lester, I feel like I answered your question. Can you confirm that I did? And back to integration. So integration 1, can I manage my Shopify store product with SheetXAI? Yes, but not fully, right? Like you could, if you have a document from SheetXAI, from Shopify that shows you all the, how to kind of have a CSV of like Shopify items, you could use SheetXAI to kind of arrange things in the right CSV, right? Number 2, that would be like the main way, and then you upload it. We don't have a direct connection with Shopify yet. If you find a Shopify MCP that's HTTPS, we could connect with that too, and that would work also perfectly. Any other thing, then no, right? It's just those 2 cases. When we do get like a Shopify direct connection, of course, I'll post it and everybody will get a chance to see. Number 2, how do I update WooCommerce products, including custom fields using SheetXAI? You would just ask, right? Like here we have all our integrations, right? If you click add integrations, we show like all of them pretty much. And there's a question mark on each of them that tells you what to do, right? So here you could say create products in WooCommerce, and we kind of tell you what we need. And let's say you want to do import products. So if you want to update, you're probably going to import, right? You're probably going to import. It's going to create a new sheet with all your products, and then update. After you're done making whatever change you need to make, then you could just send out an update. I don't know if that makes sense, but that would be like the main way to kind of go about this. How do I replicate my Airtable setup in Google Sheets using SheetXAI? Depends. What is your Airtable setup, right? I want to assume there's going to be a lot of array formulas. So you could tell the AI sub-agents. That's really like the main thing, right? It's like sub-agents, sub-agents, sub-agents. Tell it, use sub-agents to generate data or generate, whatever it is that you do in Airtable. You can most likely do here. Just make sure to set everything up in settings first, right? And when I say everything, okay, this timed out. Google times out. I really kind of hate it. Excel doesn't time out, but I'm pretty sure we'll find some sort of a fix for the timeouts. And number 4, how do I pull data from Zoho CRM and Zoho Social into Google Sheets? If either of those have an MCP, that's your way, right? If either of those does not have an MCP, then there isn't many ways to kind of go about this. And integration 2, can I connect SheetXAI to my own Gemini Pro account? So the thing with that question is, are you saying connected to like where you can use Gemini Pro with it? Gemini Pro doesn't give you like an API key, so it's much tougher to kind of work with, right? So really, if I'm being honest, nah, I don't recommend. I mean, I don't even think it's possible. Gemini Pro doesn't give you an API key. And when you do get an API key from Google AI Studio, I've noticed Gemini hasn't been always the best when it comes to like the chatbot aspect of SheetXAI. We're training it more to make it better, but also they're the competitors. So on one end, it's like, okay, maybe we don't train them because their AI gets better at using Sheets. I don't know. But, I'm just playing. We are training it more, and over time, yes, but as of now, I highly recommend OpenRouter, Strico, OpenAI, LLM Gateway, ZAI. I mean, there's like a lot of ones that we already accept. How do I use SheetXAI with Apify to scrape Twitter accounts? Just click here, add integration. You will find Apify right here, and it will tell you exactly what to ask. Literally, it will literally write, you could literally run this Apify actor and put the thing, and the AI is going to take care of it, right? Another thing you could do is if you connect the Apify MCP, then you don't have to worry about running an actor for it, right? Yeah. And by the way, for MCPs, everything is in settings. So you go to settings, it shows everything. You scroll down, you click MCP Servers, and you can add anything you want, right? Let's see. Can I use SheetXAI with tools like API Fenny? I think API Fenny is another AppScripts thing. I mean, another add-on. You could probably use it, but the only difference, or like the only thing is, Apify. Obviously, both add-ons can be open at once, but I wonder if you can possibly kind of like pull stuff in from Apify and then use SheetXAI to work with it. That would probably be the best way, okay? Number 4, how do I set up my custom model picks for the chatbot? Custom model picks. Tell me a little bit about what you mean by custom model. You could obviously change all models right here, right? Like, so you could show more, you could change to something else. But yeah, I would say that's the main way to kind of set it up. If you kind of have any other ideas, let me know. But essentially, you could set, this is the chatbot models right here. And then if you go to settings, is the first tab, chatbot right here. Right, same thing. Let's see, data analysis and troubleshooting. How do you use SheetXAI for data cleansing before importing into Power BI? It's entirely up to you in that case. Like, I mean, not in that case, but like this specific example or like this specific question, it's more about how you want to kind of use it. Like, what do you consider clean data, right? Like, for example, I could be like, hey, can you remove all asterisks from my sheet? Right, and as you can see, all asterisks are removed, right? So if that's what you consider clean data, or you could get the AI to kind of check, like, like for potential data cleaning. Right, it's the same thing. It's like using any other AI. You could kind of talk to it, and it would check. Right. Yeah. Number 2, how can I use SheetXAI to enrich profile data for my directory website? Okay. Okay. All right, so these are some things you could tell it yes, and then it will take care of it. Let's see, how can I use SheetXAI to enrich profile data from my directory website? Uh, when you say enrich, do you mean like search, or do you mean because if you have a directory, is it human people or is it non-human? If it's human, you just gotta click what is it called? If it's humans, I would say connect to like Apollo MCP or any of the other MCPs, or or Tomba, because all of those are enrichment. If it's not human, then disregard that. You could just ask the AI to research people. And let's see, number three, why do I get errors when trying to sort? And by the way, before I even like answer that, you could always scroll back and kind of see everything else, right? Everything I've said. You will see my timestamps. Look at timestamps, and you should be able to kind of see when I kind of showed that. Number three, why do I get errors when trying to sort columns, and how do I fix it? Okay, so if you get errors, so errors are like inevitable. And here's what I mean. Like, I can't potentially get you every error possible. Like, I can't, there's no way I can confidently tell you, hey, you use SheetXAI, you'll never ever have an error. What I can teach you though is kind of how to. Christophe, I'm even surprised you're still here, man. So Christophe's, I'm gonna pin this comment just so everybody can laugh at me. But the webinar is longer than my battery life, which is crazy. But I should be done very, very soon. I think this is the last tab. But if you want to, if you're getting errors and how do you fix it, you could just literally just, the first thing is obviously you could take a screenshot of the page and send it to the AI and be like, hey, this thing didn't work. That's number one. Number two, you could clear chat. Number two. Number three, you could, let's see, errors when trying to sort columns. You could kind of grab data and then you could click plus and add selection, right? One cool thing is you can also add different sheets. So you see these right here, this is like the other sheets in the notebook. You can add them, right? So there's all these things that you kind of do to make sure that everything is good, right? Let's see. But let's try sorting stuff, right? Let's say, can we sort these alphabetically by first name? Right? And you should notice a change in a few. So right now it's backing up the sheet. In a few seconds, it's going to execute the code. So we should notice something changing here. Let's see. Yep, John Lopez became number one. So, and that's one thing. Like sometimes things are going to work here. Sometimes things are not going to work. Another thing is you could just change the model, right? Like basic, standard, max. Like basic should normally be able to do some sorting. If it doesn't work, just switch models. Like completely fine, And number four, what tips and tricks can I use to get the most out of SheetXAI? Biggest trick or tip is be specific. That's all. Like, be specific of what you want, right? I want to work with sheet, blah, 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 make it blue, move this, whatever it is. Just be specific. If you're specific, it's going to work. Second trick is go for standard or max most of the time. Basic is nice, but depending on, what you do, standard or max might be for a lot of different things, right? I think standard is like the good middle ground. Max only for when you really need something serious, And I think that's it. Oh my God, this was a long. I think I've shown everything. But yeah, so this is probably the longest webinar I've ever done. But this should pretty much have everything. Like I can't think of anything I'm missing. I've answered every question. As always, my email is david@sheetxai.com. So reach out, reach out, say hi, XYZ. Like it's fully fine with me. And I'd love to kind of speak with you guys, right? So yeah, that's everything, guys. So thank you so, so much. And hope you enjoy SheetXAI. Thanks. So I'm going to turn this off now. I don't know who else is here. If anybody's here, Christophe, are you still here? Well, if anybody else is here, the one thing I want to say is, oh, that's amazing. Everybody's here. Everybody's here. Oh, I love that. Um, I think everybody got, oh, that's amazing. I love that, guys. I love everybody's here. The one last thing I would say is that we are we're releasing an affiliate program. So here's literally what's gonna happen next. I'm gonna drop the update because I need you guys to try out this new version because it's so much smoother, so much better, less headaches. After the update comes out, the next thing is gonna be that I'm gonna release our affiliate program. So our current affiliate program is 20% recurring for a year. We're actually gonna make it 30% recurring for a year, and then potentially get it to 40%, right? Or maybe I'll just start with 40%. We'll see. But essentially, so in that way, you could share it to like other people you know. But here's the thing: it has to be that they're paying for the monthly or the annual, right? Like like the goal is we grow. So you guys are amazing. The goal is to make it easy for you guys. Then you guys can kind of push it to your friends, to your family, to people you work with. They're gonna hop on, and then the machine is gonna create itself, right? I'm gonna do more lives. I'm gonna see if I could create like a webinar every week or every other week, because I really did enjoy this. It helps me kind of see things, notice things. So I love this. I think that's everything. So watch out for the affiliate, watch out for the update, and watch out for more webinars. And I think that is every single thing. Now I'm gonna kind of see how to end this stream. Before I end it, any questions? Anybody has any question that's like they've been dying to kind of get an answer to? I'm gonna kind of give it a few seconds because I think when you guys text, it takes a second to come here. I have no idea why, but when it does come here, I'm gonna okay, everybody's saying bye. Okay. And I don't know how many of you guys stayed the whole time or even like half the time, but honestly, I appreciate every single person who will come up. And if anybody's watching this later, I appreciate you too, man. Honestly, I really, really do. Actually, let's do something. Is everybody out? If you aren't out, and you don't have credits or you want credits, text me. Like type in the chat right now, and I'll give you 1,000 credits. I'll add 1,000 credits to your account. Now the 1,000 means, you can use the 1,000 for I don't know how many things before it kind of depletes, but just type in the chat and I'll add 1,000 credits to your account. Type in the chat. That way I remember who everybody is, and then I'm gonna add credits to your account. If you're still here. If you're not here, I'm gonna remember. Okay, Poods, we got Poods, Ronnie, right? And when you type in the chat, can you type like some part of your email, right? Don't type the at blah blah blah. Can you type just the beginning? Like, for example, if my email is David@SheetXAI, type David, and then I'm gonna find you. I mean, that's harder, but something unique so I can find you. I don't want you to type your full email in here though, because you could have people texting you, or you could email me and be like, hey, I was on the live. Yeah, if you were on the live, I could see who was on the live. But yeah, email me, text me, whatever, right? And Christophe said I should keep them. Okay, for sure. I'm keeping Christophe's. But yeah, like my main goal, what am I giving? Oh, wow. Everybody's like, keep it. Okay. Wow. Okay. My main thing is that you guys try things out, right? Like the only way this product gets better, like Christophe's, for example, like Christophe's review, which was like, it was private, but Christophe's review of the app has been a major player to getting it where it is right now, right? Major player. I think that was like a very nice wake-up call. So it's like good reviews, bad reviews, whatever it is, the more you guys try things out, the faster I could develop, because I could be like, That's a really nice answer, Christoph. I'm gonna pin that. I'm gonna pin that. Replace pin message. But essentially, yeah, like, you know, the good reviews, the bad reviews, everything is like huge for me. Like, it helps me a lot, honestly. So please feel free to, like, you know, hey David, you know, this isn't working, this is working. Use that thumbs down feature, actually. Use that a lot. Because that one gives me everything I need to know. The model, the conversation log, everything. Because if you text me, I'm gonna 1000%, I'm gonna be like, oh, what happened? Blah 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 blah. So yeah, that should be everything. I think this version of SheetXAI, once it comes out, it's wraps pretty much, guys. But yeah, I think that's everything. I'm gonna be ending the stream right now. I'd say if you're still here and you leave a comment or you want to leave a comment, I'd say leave it. You know, leave it now. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes, but leave it now and feel free to leave. I'm just waiting 5 minutes or so that like every comment kind of flows in before I close this. But that was everything. That was everything, guys. Okay, I think everybody's good. Everybody's done. I love it. Okay, dope. Okay, guys, I'm ending the stream right now. Everybody, bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye, Karmeshvar. Bye, Christophe. Bye, Dimitri. Bye, Poods. Bye, everyone. Ending this. Bye, Brandon Garner. And I'm ending the stream in 3, 2, 1. Done. Wow.